From Stephenville, Texas, Week 12 of the ESPN college football season wraps up in the United Athletic Conference. It's the number 5 Tarleton State Texans still trying to keep their hopes for a conference championship alive against the upset-minded North Alabama Lions, two programs who have recently made the jump from Division II to the FCS level. Welcome inside Memorial Stadium as the Texans get ready to take the field. Alongside Heckma Harrison with the third member of our crew down on the sideline, Laura Sadler, I'm Kyle Yeomans, and we talked about North Alabama upset-minded. They've been close to knocking off a top 5, top 25 team in the FCS a couple times this season. They're going to try and do so again tonight.
Hey, look, although they've been bit by the injury bug, they have been pushing teams, and it took Utah Tech, 2 points to beat this team. And I tell you what, man, although they've been bit by that injury bug, Tarleton State can ill afford to take them for granted tonight.
Yeah, Tarleton State coming off of their first loss of the season, followed by a bye week when they fell 2 weeks ago to Abilene Christian. But they have some firepower that they're going to try and find again at home. Cody Jackson was a wide receiver that head coach Todd Whitten tapped as a guy who was just ready for a breakout. He had one against ACU.
He absolutely had one, and they call him Kojak around here. The Oklahoma transfer, a kid with a big catch radius, but he is explosive and can take the top off of defense.
Speaking of transfer wide receivers making an impact, North Alabama has one of their own. Justin Pegues, the transfer from Bowling Green, has been a big play threat all season.
Yeah, and Pegues has been having to deal with the quarterbacks by committee, but don't get it twisted. He's one of those guys that can take something small and make it really big.
Head coach Brett Dearman said that he had started recruiting Pegues back in 2021 while Dearman was the offensive coordinator at Middle Tennessee State. Finally gets him to North Alabama this season. Let's go down on the sideline and hear from Laura Sadler.
They're looking to bounce back from something they haven't experienced yet this season, a loss. And that loss against ACU, it was so big. It actually hit some national headlines for reasons we won't get into. But when we talked to Coach Whitten, he said that he and his leadership group, they took advantage of the bye week to have some brutally honest conversations. He said against ACU, they played hard, but they just were not clean enough. And so going against North Alabama, he said offensively, they have to hit their targets. They can't drop passes. And then defensively, they just have to have cleaner tackles. We'll see if the guys heard the assignment, if it translates to tonight's game. Kyle?
Thank you very much, Laura. It's a beautiful night here in Stephenville under the lights as Tarleton takes the field. They won the opening kickoff and defer to the second half. North Alabama will start with the football first. These two teams have been very familiar with each other throughout their jump from FCS to, of course, from Division II to the FCS level. It's the 6th all-time meeting between the Lions and the Texans. Tarleton State has taken 4 of the previous 5. Their last meeting coming up last season was a win for this Tarleton State squad, 28-14. Kayvon Britton, one of the star running backs for the Texans, broke a program rushing record with 273 yards on the road in Florence, Alabama. 81 degrees on a warm November night in Stephenville, Texas, as we are underway. Brad Larson puts this one over the goal line and out of the back of the end zone for a touchback, and we'll have the opportunity to see the freshman quarterback, John Austin Wood Heckma, who, when we talked to Coach Dearman this week, there's some belief in the freshman, but it's really out of necessity due to that injury bug.
Hey, completely by necessity, but here's the deal. They have a ton of trust for this freshman. Although he's been thrust into a pretty complicated situation, they think that he could come out of it smelling like a rose.
And it looks like John Austin Wood, who was originally said to be the starter, is going to start on the sideline. They go with the running back Wildcat to start. Javion Allen, the fifth-year senior, is going to start behind center. We did know this was a fold that Dearman would bring to the table, but instead of seeing a quarterback behind center, they're going to start out of the Wildcat with a couple tight ends to the right side as well. They give it on the sweep, and it's nothing really going. A couple yards on the opening carry of the day for the Lions.
Yeah, this is going to be a game, Kyle, that is going to be won in the trenches. This offensive line for North Alabama, because of their shortcomings at the quarterback position, these guys are going to have to protect, but also ensure that they can pick up yards in the running game.
Now John Austin Wood enters the ball game. Stutter steps back on the screen left to Allen, who has first down yardage past the 35-yard line. Allen, one of these transfers from Tennessee Tech, who is our impact player to watch on the offensive side, along with Ezariah Fletcher, the redshirt freshman out of Alabama, and then Tarleton. Really, you could say their entire defense is an impact player.
Oh, absolutely, man. These kids they are opportunistic. You cannot put those balls in the air. They will snatch it and go the other way.
29 turnovers forced this season. This one out to the left. It's off the hands of Scott and incomplete. Tarleton State #1 in the FCS with 29 turnovers gained, 13 via fumble, 16 via interception. They have a turnover margin of plus 24, and going into week 12, that means you're averaging gaining 2 turnovers a week and 2 possessions against your opponent.
Yeah, keep your eyes on number 2, Tanaka Scott. He is 6'5", 215 out here.
Man in motion. Again, it's out of the Wildcat. Allen takes it himself, bounces off a blocker left. He's met quickly by Ty Rawls, the safety off the 3rd level by Tarleton. And it's a limited game, bringing up 3rd down.
I love Ty Rawls' game, man. He is very aggressive. One of those guys that can play at the line of scrimmage, and pretty much in the rover position.
North Alabama averaging 27 points per game. The ground game has been their bread and butter throughout the year, mostly because of the success of Allen, over 670 yards this season. Here's Wood. Back to pass, a little bit of time. Now the pocket closes and he takes off. Bounces off the tackler, gets past the 40, but it's 4th down on the opening possession. Wood off the broken play, didn't find a receiver deep, and North Alabama is forced to punt.
You got to give the freshman credit, though. He's keeping his eyes up the field. He's looking, nothing's there, and he has to take off because the pocket is collapsing. Good job by the Texans defense.
We'll talk more about John Austin Wood on their next offensive possession. Originally was a baseball commit to Texas Christian University about an hour from where we are here in Stephenville. Instead, he's playing both sports with North Alabama. First punt of the day for the extremely talented Adam Watford, one of the top punters in the FCS. Gets it to the 20-yard line where the return is snuffed out by Blake Smith. Didn't get very far, and Tarleton takes over at their own 21-yard line.
Yeah, that was a line drive punt that he secured, but man, as soon as he took the possession, he was surrounded.
Gives us an opportunity to talk about Victor Gabalis, one of the top quarterbacks in the FCS, making his 46th collegiate start. He is 24-7 as a starter here at Tarleton State. All-around quarterback, 18 touchdowns, just 2 interceptions this season, over 1,800 yards passing. And go to the ground first. It's Caleb Lewis off the right tackle. Picks up a couple.
Yeah, Victor Gabalis is their field general, the coach on the field for their coach. And here's the deal. I just feel like Coach Witten has so much trust in him and his ability to make all the throws. And I tell you, man, he is the reason why they've had so much success this season.
3-man front for North Alabama. Play action, Gabalis lofts it up left side, has a man. That one's caught at the 40. Running room inside the 20, staying in bounds is Peyton Kramer. It's a touchdown for the Texans, who strike big early.
And Peyton Kramer is basically walking the dog on his way into the end zone. That was a great fake by Victor Gabalis in the RPO. It basically froze the safeties and gave Peyton Kramer plenty of time on that fade ball to get all the way 3-4 steps ahead of the cornerback on the outside. Way to open things up here with Victor Gabalis.
When you can see a receiver with 3 or 4 steps on your defensive back, of course, from a confidence standpoint, it automatically helps at the quarterback position. But Peyton Kramer has been that big play guy all year long for the Texans. Had a touchdown last week. This is number 6 of the season. It was roommate to roommate. Victor Gabalis over the top to Peyton Kramer.
Boy, this had to feel good for the Texans, man. Over the top, Victor Gabalis could have just walked it out to him.
Tarleton, the number 5 team in the country at the FCS level, looking the part early on. They started at 9-0 to begin the season, second longest winning streak to start the campaign in Tarleton State program history. However, they fell last time out against ACU, went into the bye week, and they look refreshed with their longest touchdown of the year, a 78-yarder to Peyton Kramer.
They were the toast of the FCS prior to that ACU game. They take a short bus ride to Abilene, and they get snipped. And I think it surprised everyone. And Tarleton has an opportunity to reset here in the game versus Northern Alabama.
And that's really the thought process by Todd Whitten when we talked about it as this one goes out of the back of the end zone. Coach Whitten didn't seem flustered. He didn't seem upset. He's been around this Tarleton State program on 3 separate occasions now where he's looked at losses and he's come back after losses, but he still feels like this team has the depth and the high-end talent to compete for an FCS championship.
And he knows that they do. I mean, it's one of those games that I tell you have a lull in production. You have some guys injured, and look, they just caught you sleeping.
ACU always a tough matchup no matter what. They won today 17-10 in their matchup to keep their hopes alive for a United Football Championship, as this one's put on the ground by Wood. John Austin Wood fumbles the snap out of the shotgun, and it's a big loss on first down.
Yeah, that's exactly what this team can ill afford to do. Small miscues like that where you put yourself basically behind the 8 ball.
Second down and 17 from now inside North Alabama's own 20-yard line. Wood back to throw, right side, rocket completed. That's Jeremiah Thomas, the freshman out of Birmingham, with the catch. Gets back past the original line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I like that. Just a quick slant on the outside to your freshman. Yeah, that's freshman on freshman, basically, to Thomas. Love that connection right away. Let's see if they can convert.
It's just Thomas's second reception of the year. You look at the stats there by Wood. That was in mop-up duty after Destin Wade broke his ankle in the second quarter of their last matchup where they were leading against West Georgia. Ari Patu was the starter to start the year. Destin Wade played better. He won the job midway through the first slate as this one's thrown left on third down, incomplete. Looking for KJ Fields, and it's a 3-and-out for the Lions.
And that is dangerous. That ball is tipped at the line of scrimmage, and you saw right away that the cornerback, he jumps it. And boy, Melidor may have had an opportunity to take one to the house.
Adam Watford back on, averaging 47 yards per punt. Leads the UAC and ranks 5th in the FCS with that average. He's had 3 punts over 50 yards last week, not just this year, last week. 3 of them over 50 yards. Set the career record for most 50-yard punts all time with 32 in North Alabama history, but he puts this one on the turf, and Tarleton is there to recover.
Boy, unbelievable start here for Tarleton. And the bobble snap, and now they're setting the Texans up in plus territory.
It was recovered by Markel Johnson. Johnson, the sophomore out of Edmond, Oklahoma, was working straight down the middle and says, "Thank you very much. It's an early Christmas present in the month of November."
I tell you, they're coming after that. They were coming after that snap anyway. They were coming after the punt anyway, but the bobble just added another degree of difficulty to it. And right now, man, you couldn't start any better if you're a Texans fan.
Took them just 2 plays to go 79 yards on their last drive. Now they get to start from inside the red zone. Handoff. Switching directions is that's Caleb Lewis, and he works back to the hash mark, but a loss of 1.
Yeah, can't get it done like that, and this defense is going to be able to snuff that out if you want to change directions and start going east and west.
This is a team in North Alabama that has struggled to slow down the passing attack this year, but they've been pretty solid against the run. 6th in the conference against rushing attacks this season. But they're ranked 121 in passing attack. They go back to the air. This one overshoots Peyton Kramer. as Cabales was looking in the middle of the field.
Hey, Peyton Kramer may have a case for a PI on the outside. Maybe a little handsy out there, but they miss it.
Third down and 13 now for Tarleton State. First third down of the ball game as they go 3 wideouts to the right. Cabales looks left, completes it, staying in bounds. Keeping the play alive is Trayvon West, who goes inside the 10-yard line. Pushing for the line to gain. He is right at it.
He really is. This is a 3rd and 13, and Trayvon West can tell he's trying to get to the sticks. And Victor Cabales basically staring him down. And, man, great job picking up the first down.
Hey, the spot was favorable toward Tarleton State, and the Texans pick up the line to gain, but just barely. First and goal for Tarleton. Lewis is the tailback. They shovel it. There's Jackson turning upfield. Cody Jackson chopped down inside the 5. Boy, is he electrifying with the ball in his hands.
Yeah, man, when you can get a guy like that out in open space, a wide receiver, but also has the kind of vision that Cody Jackson has, you got to take advantage of it.
3 yards of play to the 4-yard line, 2nd down and goal.
Brings up 2nd down and goal. Tarleton this year in the red zone, 42 of 49. They've scored 34 touchdowns out of their 42 total scores. Very good in the red zone. Back to the ground with Lewis, and he is chopped down quickly. Seth Hampton, the star junior linebacker for North Alabama, was there to bring up 3rd down and goal.
Yeah, he is one of the stars that they have, and one of the 4 captains on this team is Seth Hampton. Goes at 5'11", 215.
Had 7 tackles last week, has one there. He really surfaced as a starter late last season, playing in 11 games with the Lions, but starting in 2 of the final 3, and he has started every game this year for Coach Dearman. Motion from the tight end and Danny Joyner. Cabales will step back and throw on 3rd down and goal. Now he has to flush out left. Scanning, Cabales back of the end zone. It's overthrown. And decision time for the Texans. 4th down and goal incoming.
And I tell you what, he was flushed out, but you can tell how patient he is. Look at Victor Cabales, again, keeping his eyes up the field, and he's looking at the back of the end zone, but I think that's a great decision by Cabales. Instead of putting that ball in harm's way, he elects to throw it away.
Offense stays out on the field here early, trying to make a statement and go up by 2 touchdowns, not just by 2 scores. Heavy package in tight, a couple tight ends and a wide receiver to the right side. They put Kramer in motion. Cabales throws it out wide. A wide open tight end. It's Danny Joyner who reaches for the pylon off balance, but he's in. Touchdown, Texans.
Someone forgot all about Danny Joyner. He is out there, a man on an island. Great job by Victor Cabales, staying patient, allowing his tight end to come open. I thought he was going to run out of bounds initially, but then he's able to have enough athleticism to get the ball past the pylon.
He had to maneuver back to it,
Yes.
Heckma. The ball kind of took him to the sideline, his momentum heading that direction. But the redshirt junior out of Kansas City and the transfer from SEMO gets it done. The PAT is true. And the number 5 team in the country strikes on their opening 2 offensive possessions.
Man, way to go for Victor Cabales and his offense. And they have basically scored on all of their drives so far. Unstoppable right now are the Texans.
2 drives for the Tarleton State Texans and 2 touchdowns as Danny Joyner, the redshirt junior tight end, and a transfer that was once at Army, went to SEMO, followed up now by a season here with Tarleton State with his 3rd touchdown grab of the year in just 5 receptions. Heckman, that tells me he's a red zone target. 3 for 5 is not bad when you come to even a batting average or a conversion percentage in any sport.
Hey, I think you had questions initially because they were going for it on 4th down, but they had the perfect play design, and they were able to get Danny Joyner out all by himself, man. Great execution by the Tarleton offense.
14-0 here in the 6th all-time meeting between North Alabama and Tarleton State. Conference foes, part of this United Athletic Conference. Another one out of the back of the end zone, and North Alabama will take over at their own 25-yard line. Had a 1st down on their opening drive, but the Lions have really struggled to move it once John Austin Wood took over behind center. As Allen trots out there out of the Wildcat. Talked about the broken ankle for Destin Wade, an unfortunate loss because he had 1,200 yards passing, 10 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. The transfer from Colorado was really a welcome sight in Florence. And they have not been able to utilize him the last 2 weeks as Allen takes off with it. That's who you have to rely on if you're Coach Dearman and company. You got to be able to ride your bell cow like Javian Allen.
You know, I think the Wildcat initially is going to work for him. You know that Coach Nix is going to make an adjustment to that. But as long as you're picking up chunk yards, this is exactly what this North Alabama offense needs. They're basically shooting themselves in the foot on each of their drives. So hopefully they can get past the 50 at least on this drive.
Here goes Allen. He is past the line to gain. Picks up the 2nd 1st down of the day for North Alabama. If you can put yourself in 2nd down in favorable situations, you don't play behind the chains like they have on each of their previous 2 drives, then that success may come naturally.
Hey, man, they call that football 101. As long as you don't do that, you can have some success.
Another Wildcat running back. It's Daniels that will take the snap, and now he takes off on the draw. Another gain of about 4.
It's not going to be anything traditional about the way Coach Brent Dearman takes on this Tarleton State defense. He knows that he's going to have to get some push and continue to run at them. And again, you talk about the patience here. He's waiting on something to come open. Keys are basically opening doors up front for them. And hey, again, 2nd and manageable.
They fake the sweep. Now it's Wood that throws underneath, complete to Allen, makes one man miss. Stutter steps close to the 50. He's pushed out of bounds. Again, a 1st down for Javian Allen. They call him Juice for a reason, and he shows a little bit of that juice there.
And Coach Dearman said he's built like a bowling ball. And you see it on this play. How about that, man? When you got a guy that can be out in the flat like that and, you know, look, stutter step a guy and pick up the 1st down.
Had 16 carries for 56 yards last week against West Georgia as this rocket goes over the outstretched hands of the intended target. 2nd down and 10. We've seen 2 passing attempts so far from Wood that have just been absolute lasers.
Yeah, and that's what you're going to get with a freshman quarterback. I mean, can you imagine his heartbreak right now? I mean, he is just trying to stay cool, calm, and collected, but he's rushing his throws.
Trying to find Lake outside to the right. 2nd time he's been targeted in the matchup. Handoff. That's Pegues trying to get him involved. He gets back to the line of scrimmage. But it's 3rd down and long, maybe a loss of 1 on the play.
Well, great job by the Tarleton State defense. They're just stretching it out. Pegues, again, is working to get an opening, but he's not going to get it. James Turntine up front and company are just not giving him any windows to run through.
Big 3rd down for North Alabama, trying to keep this game within striking distance, possibly get into Texans territory. With Scott in motion. Allen is the tailback. Play action, Wood, pump fakes, now has to roll left. Wood takes off. He can run a little bit as well. Gets close to the line to gain before he's escorted out of bounds. Depends on the spot. It is close to a first down. And it's 4th down and inches. They call him about a half-yard shy of the marker.
And I think Wood, he had an opening down the field. He's looking at that safety that's set about 18 yards off the line of scrimmage. And you know Coach Tyrone Nix, he realizes that he has a freshman quarterback out there. He's going to put him in his fun house and have his eyes seeing all kinds of stuff.
4th down and inches. Offense remains out there. It's Allen out of the Wildcat with a heavy package in front. Allen plunges ahead. His extra effort should have the first down as he gets to the 40.
You know what bowling balls do? They just roll, dog. And that's what you saw right there, rolling to the first down.
I like that. Rolling downhill, Allen picks up the first. Best drive so far for North Alabama. John Austin Wood trying to find some rhythm and stay on the field long enough to piece something together. Went 4 for 11 passing last week. Wood wants to unload it here. There's a lot of hand fighting on the outside. That ball was actually caught at the second level. Cassius Kearns nearly had interception number 6 of the season. He may have been able to draw a flag there. Both sides fighting for that position.
Yeah, you got to give the officials plenty of credit right now. They're letting them play, but hey, fair exchange is not a robbery. Both guys are pretty handsy, but I tell you, you better stop. You better stay away from Cassius Kearns.
One of the best corners in all of football. Tied for the most interceptions in the nation with 5. Has the highest interception rate per game in the country as Wood taken down behind the line of scrimmage. Could not get away. That's the big man, Josh Griffiths, with the sack.
I mean, what's on the ball? You go RPO there, he just drops it.
It's the second time he has fumbled a snap here in this opening quarter.
And lucky to get that one back. I thought initially in this drive, I'm just saying, hey, can you get past the 50? And when they do, they start doing things that take them back.
3rd and 13. Wood pressured off the edge. He's swarmed and taken down right at midfield. There was no chance he was getting away from the combo of Griffiths. Along with it, looked like Chisholm was the other one in there quickly. You can really name 3 or 4 Texans. A.J. Owens was in there.
Yasir Holmes
was in there.
It's a block party. Everybody's back there. And I said it initially with the defensive coordinator, Tyrone Nix. He recognizes he has a guy that doesn't have a ton of experience. He's just fooling him. He's bringing all kinds of pressure from the outside, and that blitz, there was nothing that he could do. John Austin Wood seeing ghosts right now.
I've heard of a half sack awarded to players before, but what about a quarter sack? Because there were 4 different Texans. As this one's batted out of the end zone, they will call it a touchback either way, and Tarleton State will get it out at the 25-yard line. Everything has gone to plan so far for the Texans at home. They lead it 14-0 early. Couple individuals on both of these rosters and sidelines that, of course, have graduated from each institution. 3 coaches, former players for North Alabama, including, how about Steve Carter, played back for the Lions in 1978 and 1980. And he is the assistant coach on the defensive line now for the Lions. And how about Tate Witten? He was a standout wide receiver for the Texans back in the mid-2010s, son of head coach Todd Witten, and he's been on his staff for quite some time now, making the jump from Division II to the FCS.
Hey, Coach Carter had the neck roll. He didn't need a neck roll, man. That guy was yoked.
First play from scrimmage. Nothing going here for Tarleton. No chance here for nothing going here. How about that? That's the first carry for Tylen Hines. Hines, who was originally tabbed as the starter for Tarleton State out of training camp, has not played a snap this season, and that was his first carry. He was expected to be a big standout for this squad, but he gets injured early on, played a snap in that opener against Portland State. Now they go long down the left sideline. This one complete to Willis. He's tracked down from behind, but another big-time completion. Gabales hits the open receiver for a large gain.
And this defense, boy, they are probably sick of seeing these wide receivers running free. Marquise Willis, if he doesn't stumble at the end of this, there's no way they're going to stop him. He's walking into the end zone.
North Alabama tracks it down, saves a touchdown for now. Second completion of more than 40 yards as now Hines breaks a tackle. Welcome back, Tylen Hines. The transfer from Hawaii returns in a big way. Fireworks again in Stephenville.
That's got to feel good for Hines. As you were talking about earlier, this kid was injured in the first game of the season and finally gets an opportunity to come back with that big old brace on his left arm. And it was elbow, I believe, dislocation that he had to start the season. Good to see this young man back, and obviously some production right away.
You think he's excited to be back based off of that reaction?
Oh yeah, just a little bit.
This one through the uprights, easy going for Tarleton State. Welcome back, Tylen Hines. 5'7", 180 pounds, and he's got some juice to him as well.
Yeah, making his way on the outside. You see it right there. He's just being patient. The stiff arm with the right hand. Probably not ready to extend that left arm out just yet, but I tell you what, man, that is a quality run, and a guy like Hines, like you said, that is welcome back for that young man.
Had 4 carries for 20 yards in that game against Portland State in week 0. Got injured in that matchup. That was after he makes the transfer from Hawaii. Originally played his prep football at Plano Senior High up in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. He was the starting running back out of fall camp, as we mentioned, scored a touchdown even in the spring game. That's the first touchdown he's scored since the spring game, and it's in his 3rd carry of the day. Comes in off the bench and makes quite the impact.
Hey, and Kyle, just look at his teammates. Everybody is high-fiving him, man, and pats on the helmet for that young man. They know what he's gone through and the way that he competed in the spring to earn the starting job, and to be hurt like that in the first game of the season, man, you're gutted for a young man like that. But I tell you what, man, this is a gutsy performance, that's a gutsy run, by Hines. And welcome back again.
Had 889 yards, 2 touchdowns with Hawaii, and was an honorable mention All Mountain West Conference honoree back in 2022. 21-0. Texans all over the Lions here in the first quarter. Final 55 seconds of the frame as the Lions take back over at the 25-yard line. What's the thought process here for Coach Dearman and company? Already down by 3 scores. Offense has mustered just 34 total yards. What do you want to see here on this drive?
Man, you just got to take the air out of the ball and get some runs going. get something positive to happen for your offense. Right now, your freshman just isn't seeing the field well. I just think it's too many black jerseys in space, and he does not trust it to let the ball go. Maybe get something quick underneath, but again, try and build confidence here in the first half.
Just 3 for 7 passing, 25 yards for the freshman John Austin Wood. Hand off here, not going to go very quickly to the right side. A.J. Owens was the first one to meet at the line of scrimmage, maybe a pickup of 2.
Wow. This is the deal, Kyle. You can't go east and west on this defense. They're too fast. And if you don't run right at them, they absolutely are going to make sure that you pick up negative yards.
Not the case for the Tarleton State Texans. They have been dominant through the first 15 minutes of action here in Stephenville. 21-0. 2 passing touchdowns from Victor Cabales, over 160 yards passing in the first frame. And then Talon Hines returns in a big way. His first game since week 0. He finds pay dirt, and the Texans lead it by 3 scores through 1.
We're back at Memorial Stadium. Texans currently with a 21-0 lead on North Alabama. And man, North Alabama, they have been tested in the quarterback position. They've gone through 4 quarterbacks this season. And with starter Dustin Wade going down last week against West Georgia, true freshman John Austin Wood, he's having to rise to the occasion. Coach Dearmon taking advantage of the arm of the two-sport athlete that he has to offer, saying that Wood, he throws the deep ball well, he is fast with his throws, Tarleton. Despite being a true freshman, he's shown a lot of confidence stepping into the starting role, but starting against a top 10 team, it is proving to be no easy task. It's been a quiet night so far for the quarterback, being limited to just 25 yards. He's currently 3 for 8. Kyle?
That's Laura Sadler down on the sideline alongside Heckma Harrison. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Into the second quarter we go. And you just talked about the struggles from John Austin Wood. He gets that pass batted down at the line of scrimmage. They call the play dead. Tarleton State thought it might have been a fumble. There was no whistle initially, but definitely a forward pass. And even though it was picked up by Jaden Albert and returned to the end zone, it's 4th down for the Lions, and this one's booted away by Watford. A booming kick. Craters inside the 10, and it hangs out at the 1. Oh, it is a sliding try. They're going to down it at the 1-yard line. Boy, was that risky from the special teams unit, but they get the job done. One of the best punts you'll ever see. Adam Watford continues his prowess as one of the best kickers in the UAC.
What planet is this kid from?
That was insane.
That you can't call a shot better than that. That looked like me versus you on the golf course. You know it did, Kyle. Don't look at me like that.
The which way? Are you talking about my 7-iron or your 7-iron?
I'm going to leave it alone.
That was a driver straight outside the hole. That's what that was.
Amazing shot.
Incredible stuff from the junior out of Alabama. Look at that thing crater.
And he almost ruined it. He almost ruined it. I tell you what, Coach Dearman would have gone berserk.
That's one of those where you get back to the sideline and you look at the wide receiver, Justin Luke, and you just say, you know what? You did what you needed to do. Now Tarleton, from their own end zone, gives outside and positive yardage for Caleb Lewis, which hasn't been a given from the run game for Tarleton today. Texans, their first positive rushing attempt of the entire game was that last carry that resulted in the Tylen Hines touchdown. You know, that was the only positive rush prior to that one, too.
Hey, you talked about how this North Alabama defense has been victimized in the secondary. Not so much up front, man. They got some guys that can get it done. As you see right here, they crowd the line of scrimmage.
By the way, that punt officially 72 yards. That's a 72-yard punt. Second longest punt by the conference this year.
Somebody's going to be asking that kid, what is he going to be doing on Sunday?
Yeah, maybe so. And Watford, of course, has the longest punt of the year. That was 74 yards earlier in the campaign. Watford also had a 75-yard punt that was negated by a Utah Tech penalty earlier in the campaign. So that's just another day at the office for Watford.
Man, way to track this down from your nickel corner. Brian Dilworth, he is man-to-man in the hole, and he makes the tackle. That's a great job by the North Alabama defense getting off the field here in the second quarter.
And if your offense isn't moving the ball effectively, playing the field position battle can work wonders for trying to find a bit of rhythm here. And now with Tarleton forced to punt out of their own end zone, should be great starting field position for the Lions for the first time tonight. Back to return is Pegues. And whistles blow this dead. Pryor.
Okay, just adding another degree of difficulty.
And it's a delay of game penalty called. Didn't hear the ref mic there, but it was a delay of game, half the distance to the goal on Tarleton.
Yes.
So now, like you said, adding a degree of difficulty, and Pegues gets to stand at the Tarleton 45-yard line to reel this punt in. Electrifying return man. Has had a 100-yard return before. Over the season, averages about 15 yards per return. Spiraling kick. It's very short. Almost hits a couple North Alabama players, but it does take a Tarleton hop and he gets out to the 50-yard line. Best starting field position of the night for North Alabama. See if the Lions can get something going and get on the board here at Stephenville. We've already seen some good kicking tonight from Watford. How about a 40-yard field goal right down the middle, just over the crossbar, sending Memorial Stadium into hysterics in the middle of the break? I don't know what they were competing for. I don't know what the prize is, but what is he doing the rest of the day? Does he have any eligibility left?
Hey, college game day, I tell you where you don't go. Don't come to Stephenville with millions of dollars on the line. They got a guy down here that will gladly take your money.
Pat McAfee might have already been watching because of Adam Watford doing it for the brand on the North Alabama side. And now Tarleton State's pulling people out of the stands to hit 40-yard field goals. Still early in the second. Oh. Little reverse here and a nice move initially by Jalen Daniels, the fifth-year senior out of Tallahassee, Alabama.
This may be tacking 15 at the end of this.
Little talking back and forth between the two sidelines. They called Devin Sterling on the late hit out of bounds. And that does indeed tack on 15 more after the starting field position was already favorable for the Lions.
Yeah, first of all, Jalen Daniels, he just breaks a guy's ankles on the outside, but boy, he's 3 yards out of bounds when Sterling hits him.
Daniels did play last week, but only had one reception for 44 yards, did not have a carry in the game, and they've utilized him a couple times so far tonight. Here goes Allen trying to stay on his feet. He cannot get away from the last tackle attempt there. He is dragged to the ground by Brandon Tolvert, who has the shoestring tackle, pickup of 3.
Wildcat has had a bit of an impact here early, and I don't see John Austin Wood coming in, so they're going to stay with it.
He's still on the sideline here, looking on from just behind Coach Brent Dearman. It's Allen out of the shotgun, the running back. He goes straight up the middle, runs over a linebacker, and he gets down to the 24-yard line. The line again is the 23.
Boy, is he close. I don't think we may see John Austin Wood this entire drive. If you're having that kind of success, as you see him standing over there on the sideline next to the coaches.
Yeah, right to the, or on the right of your screen there. Allen again. They've utilized him a couple times on third down in short situations. Here's another one. North Alabama 0 for 5 on third down tonight. There's their first pickup as Allen reaches the second level, bounded off of a defender, and then gets leveled.
God, he paid for that at the end of that play. See him right here. Allen has enough for the first down right here, but man, it comes at the end of the play. Devin Sterling, these two guys have been meeting up a lot.
Sterling was who was called for the unnecessary roughness and the hit out of bounds. As Allen checks out, it's now Daniels out of the Wildcat. First red zone trip of the day for North Alabama. High snap, Daniels maneuvers forward up to the 16.
Kyle, I said it. You asked me, what does North Alabama have to do? And take the air out of the ball. Keep these drives going, keep the clock going. Let's have something positive start to happen for this team. Build some confidence. Right now, Tarleton State is taking it out of them. On that last, for the defense, obviously they were pent at the 1 yard line, but not allowing them to pick up a first down and getting them to punt.
Currently the 6th play of the drive. Started at the 50. They put Daniels in motion, now it's Allen. Allen going nowhere. Sterling meets him behind the line of scrimmage. Taken back a couple yards, sets up third down and 10.
And for a linebacker, you can only run a play so many times before they snuff it out. And you see it right there. Sterling, there's no guesswork there. He's not getting caught up in all the wash, the trash, none of that. He knows exactly that ball carrier is going to come through that B gap, and he's there to meet him.
Third generation player. His previous 2 generations, his dad and his grandfather both played in the NFL. Sterling making multiple plays here in this first half. Wood now scans, throws it over the middle, and it's incomplete. Rogers wanted a flag as the intended target. He won't get it. And it looks like the field goal team will trot on to see if North Alabama can get on the board.
Boy, Rogers may have had a case there for the PI. They just didn't give it to him. Again, these referees, boy, they've allowed some contact.
Not a ton of penalties called throughout the first half. North Alabama has not been penalized, and only the 2 for Tarleton State. One of them was the delay of game that happened earlier in their last offensive possession, and then the second one was the late hit out of bounds. The only 2 penalties tonight. This field goal off the right hash mark from 36 yards out, and it is wide to the right. Not the way that North Alabama saw that drive coming to an end. The Texans keep the Lions off the board. Their offense coming back in. Ian Vachon, the transfer from Auburn, who entered the night 8 for 11 on field goals, has hit as high as a 55-yarder this year, is now 0 for 2 from inside the 30 to 39-yard range as he missed that 36-yard field goal that would have put North Alabama on the board. Kind of a rare miss and a wild miss as he mishit it to the right.
So, Kyle, wait a minute, you just gave me all those stats just to say that his kryptonite is being too close?
Maybe that's the case. Now
Wow.
2 of his 4 have been in that same range. It was off the right hash mark, kind of to the right, but nowhere close as North Alabama remains scoreless here in the first half. Tylen Hines back at the running back spot, stopped for a loss.
And some adjustments made by the North Alabama defense. They've been different here in the second quarter. And Brock Carabora, their defensive coordinator, you can tell he's bringing a little bit more pressure on the outside and penetration up the middle.
Fred Villey, the sophomore, has made a couple of plays already. This throw outside, complete. It's Trayvon West who slung out of bounds. Positive yardage in the passing game again. Victor Gabales now 6 for 8 passing, 163 yards and a couple touchdowns so far on his night.
Now, he hadn't been touched, and so he's been clean in the pocket. That's what you got to change if you're North Alabama. You got to touch number 11 up.
One of the best offensive lines in all of football, and they have looked the case tonight. Put a man in motion, low snap to Gabales on 3rd down. Now he's pressured, but he gets out of trouble. Gabales running, gets upended from behind. Nowhere near the line to gain. It's 4th down and 3 for Tarleton State. And again, multiple guys bringing pressure from North Alabama, making things tough. It was Tango McCauley Jr. with the stop.
Yeah, but that's better, though. And you see Victor Gabales, he's looking up the field. He's trying to go through his progressions, but a great job by this North Alabama defense continuing to pursue and come after him, not let him pick up the 1st down with his legs.
Give credit to the hometown product, Jaheim Ingram, the junior out of Muscle Shoals High School in Alabama, part of that Shoals area in North Alabama. This punt is down at the 36-yard line. Lions back-to-back stops after allowing touchdowns on their first 3 defensive possessions. Lions trying to get on the board when we come back. Student section looking on in the penultimate home game of the year for Tarleton State. Texans return home next week to take on Austin Peay. They'll have an opportunity with a win today to try and win at least a share of the United Athletic Conference title. One of the top teams in the FCS, coming off their first loss of the year 2 weeks ago. ACU defeated Tarleton State 31-28, went into the bye week, and they look refreshed here in the first half against the Lions of North Alabama. Hand off to Lake. He's upended. Nowhere to run that time as the Texans come flying off the second level. Avian Rice makes it happen.
That sprint out is only going to work so many times. You see this about maybe the third or fourth time that they've run that play. This time, they're waiting for it.
Pick up for one. Rice now up to 27 tackles on the season. Allen out of the backfield, the most efficient ball carrier so far. 8 carries, 28 yards for North Alabama. They put him in motion. Wood throws over the middle. This one off the hands and incomplete.
He's throwing that in. He's throwing it into double coverage. Again, another laser shot. Noah Gregg just didn't have the hands to come up with it.
Talked about the baseball background from John Austin Wood. That was part of what stood out to Coach Dearman during the recruiting process. Freshman out of Fulton, Mississippi, right outside of Adawamba, in a part of the country where they play some high-level baseball. Was a baseball commit to TCU, as Laura outlined earlier, and he wanted to play both sports, so North Alabama gives that opportunity. Now he drops back, 5-step drop, fumbles the football, lands back on top of it, but that's the third time he has fumbled in this first half, but he's landed on it all 3 times.
And just for some reason, man, it just seems like the ball is just comes out of his hand. It's the weirdest thing. This is about the 3rd time that I've seen him put the ball on the floor. And maybe, this time he has pressure and people around him, but he's dropped the ball with no one around.
Texans have a defender down. That's Robert Rios, the senior out of Killeen, Texas. Standout from Shoemaker High School, who's been around this Tarleton squad for 4 years now. And you can tell he is in some visible pain as he works back to the sideline. That's the last thing you want to see from the Texans in the final weeks of the year. They're a team that has all the pieces, all the makings of a championship caliber squad. And when the FCS playoffs come around in a couple of weeks, expect the Texans to be firing on all cylinders. You just hope that everybody's available for those opportunities.
And Kyle, they're built right. They have the offensive line. They can protect their quarterback. They have a ton of speed on the outside and a defense that can take the ball away. You're right, man. You don't want to start to see these injuries start to pile up as the season comes to a close.
Javian Allen. This is Page back. Caleb Lewis back for Tarleton, makes a couple of moves. Now at the 35, a solid return from Caleb Lewis, the 5th-year senior out of New Orleans, as he points ahead for the Texans, giving them solid starting field position.
Not only a solid running back, but also a solid punt returner as well. Look at him working his way through traffic, and that's a great pickup by the young man from New Orleans.
He is a firecracker for this Texans offense. Puts the foot in the ground and gets upfield. He has 9 rushing touchdowns on the year. 26 total touchdowns throughout his career, both with Tarleton State and then with Pittsburgh State previously. Victor Gabales back behind center. Hines is the running back. They fake it to him. Throws right. Open man. It's caught. Inside the 30-yard line, Bryce Parker, the transfer from Utah Tech, has a big gain on first down.
Boy, and Cameron Jamar, the free safety right there, he is working over. He sees it, but man, that is Victor Gabales threading the needle.
And Jamar works back to the sideline, and as he was trying to get back to the sideline, he goes down for the injury timeout. Under 5.5 to play in the first half. $34 yards on the pitching catch to Bryce Parker.
You see the chess match here, Kyle, between the offensive and defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator Adam Austin, is like, look, I'm going to get back to putting this thing in the air. I see exactly what this Lions defense is doing, crowding the line of scrimmage. I have the quarterback that can fit it into some tight spaces, and you saw what Victor Gavalis did right there with the big pickup.
It's the third passing play that has gone for more than 34 yards. That one goes for 34. They had the big completion to 64 yards. Marquise Willis earlier in the half. And then the first passing play of the day, the 78-yard touchdown pitch and catch from roommate to roommate. Victor Gavalis to Peyton Kramer. Went for 78 yards to the house. Hines waiting for the play to develop, gets hit behind the line of scrimmage by McCauley Jr. Now he bounces outside and picks up positive yards. That's what they've been missing in the backfield. This banged up running back room from Tarleton State starting to get a little more healthy.
Good God, talk about getting away in a hurry. Hines, man, just when you think you have him bottled up, his ability to get to the outside, in a foot race, not a lot of guys out here on the field is going to catch him.
Belt tie snap. They fake it to Hines, and now Gavalis has all sorts of time. It results in a touchdown. Trayvon West works free, his third touchdown of the year, and the Texans keep the onslaught rolling.
And Drake Fowler is man-to-man on the outside. There's nothing he can do. He slips down, but he is on an island with Trayvon West. Again, when your quarterback is as clean as Victor Gavalis is in the pocket, that's just easy pickings.
Gavalis could have set up a tent in the backfield with as much time as he had to throw that football. That's part of that offensive line who many coaches that we've talked to throughout the season have tabbed as one of the best, if not the best, in the FCS. I think the only team that could maybe boast a better offensive front, as you see them dominate up front there, might be North Dakota State and what they bring to the table with the Bison.
Yeah, it's their RPO. Again, freezes those linebackers, the safeties, just trying to beware of the run, but they have to account for the fact that Trayvon West is working behind them.
They're the big guys up front. Third touchdown of the year for West, who had 6 receptions for 111 yards last week. The transfer from Oklahoma. Former teammate with Cody Jackson, his fellow wide receiver here in Stephenville. Part of this transfer portal heavy Texans roster put together by Todd Witten. They have hit the portal effectively and often throughout their time building this roster.
But it's a mix. They recruit well here, but they're getting those guys in the portal, skill position guys, that are absolutely making the difference as far as the speed that you're bringing onto the field. And for Victor Gavalis, man, he probably couldn't be happier with the guys that they've brought on, because he's throwing into wide open spaces.
Now over 20 touchdown passes this season, 80 in his career. Gavalis, who started with Washington State, Utah Tech, and then now ending here with the Texans, as this one's reeled in from the goal line, nowhere to go. KJ Fields was the return man, but he was chopped down before he could really even get rolling.
Yeah, KJ should have rethought that one before he brought it out of the end zone. Initially may have felt like a good idea, but once he was out of that paint, he was in danger zone.
Starting field position from the 10-yard line. John Austin Wood back at quarterback. We have not seen Ari Patu or DC Tapscott in the game. Tapscott banged up. Wade was injured last week. Patu is available, but they have stuck with Wood throughout the first half so far as they go to the ground with Allen, and he is stacked up at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, now 28-0. You got a Tarleton defense now that they pretty much all of their worries are behind them. They're just going to come hunt now.
As good as the Texans have been on defense, top 12 scoring defense in the FCS, 4th in passing yardage allowed per game, top 10 in third down percentage, and of course number 1 with 29 turnovers gained this season, and 1st in turnover margin They have not pitched a shutout since week 0 against Portland State. They won that game up in the Northwest, 42-0 in week 0. Then, of course, in week 1, they go on the road to West Point and upend the Army Black Knights for an FBS win. Army, a team that's fighting for a possible bowl berth at the FBS level, and Tarleton took them down in overtime, 30-27.
And I think that's why that ACU game was such a head scratcher for everyone, because of how good this defense has been playing, stopping the run, turning teams over. Just, you know, we asked Coach Todd Whitten about it. He said, look, fundamentally, we just weren't any good.
Third down, Wood throws the screen. Right side, nowhere to go for Allen. Multiple Texans there. It was Sterling combining on the stop. Multiple Texans in the vicinity, and they make the big play.
You got a 6'2", 235-pound linebacker out there that is reading this like a book, and he's just waiting on him out in the flat. And you got 2 Texans players out there. Man, that is a great combo from those two, and they're just shutting it down.
Yeah, Bam Smith was the other linebacker, along with Devin Sterling. Sterling, who had the first quarter interception last week against ACU. Watford has the whole field in front of them. Not the same level of punt this time around, as it takes a hop out of play. And the Texans will start in plus territory with just over 2.5 minutes remaining here in the second.
Who's that guy? And what they do with our punters?
That wasn't the same guy. Speaking of trickery, and
right?
you got a different jersey for Mr. Young there. Seen that a couple times on special teams. As Tarleton's done that throughout the season, really throughout Coach Whitten's tenure. They will play some of their better players on special teams because they need multiple numbers. Blake Smith wears 9. They have another 9 that's out there, so they'll throw one of those guys in a different numbered jersey, so that way Tyre Young can play on special teams as well.
Talk about it being a numbers game. I mean, that's for real.
First down and 10. Best starting field position of the day for Tarleton State. They haven't needed it to this point. Excuse me, second best starting field position. They started from the 19 on an earlier drive. Throw over the middle. That one caught inside the 10. It's Kramer again. Loses the dome at the last second, but Kramer with another big play.
Yeah, these guys are clearly roommates. This is a lot of time on task right here between these two. And the post route wide open. And shocked that Peyton doesn't take that one to the end zone.
This one also for 34 yards. Throw was a little bit behind him, and you know when they get home later on, they're going to look at this and say, you should have put that one on the money a little better, and it would have been a touchdown. As Daniel Greek enters at quarterback, Gabalis works to the sideline with his roommate. Daniel Greek, he'll take off himself, runs into the pile, and he gets down to the 1.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to use Victor Gabalis for any of those design runs tonight, Kyle.
You don't think so?
Nah.
And that brings us to the 2-minute timeout. Greek has had some success behind center. We'll see who's back behind there to start. Tarleton State driving again. Texans well in control of this one through the first half of action, 28-0. Now at the 2-minute timeout, over 290 yards of total offense compared to just 48 for North Alabama. It has been pure dominance by the number 5 ranked team in the FCS.
Yeah, and North Alabama, the Lions been shooting themselves in the foot. I mean, they had the miscues with fumbles and offense just not getting in any rhythm. They thought that the Wildcat was going to help them, and it really didn't. They had the one drive where they started out in some pretty good field position, but just not able to let it pay off with any points.
Texans trying to punch it in again. Currently 2 for 3 in the red zone. Shovel pass to Cody Jackson. Jackson turns upfield. He'll walk into the end zone, squeezes through a couple defenders, and the Texans score again.
Yeah, Cody Jackson's just so good. Again, when you have a guy that is that good in open field, why not use him?
Transfer from Houston and Oklahoma. Junior out of Richmond, Texas. Went to Richmond Foster High School. Has had some big plays this season. Had a touchdown last week, and we talked about him in the open. 7 receptions, 134 yards last week. That's going to count as a receiving touchdown. So Victor Cabales with 4 passing touchdowns in just 10 completions here in the first half.
Yeah, that's good, and then there's Victor Cabales. He's having an incredible first half. But, man, these are the kind of weapons when you were talking about guys that Coach Witten is getting in the transfer portal. You're getting guys that can be instant playmakers and have instant success on your program, and that's exactly what Cody Jackson is.
And even up 35-0, head coach Todd Witten still having conversations with the officials after the fact. It was a 3-play, 37-yard drive. Big completion to Peyton Kramer over the middle for 34 yards is what put the Texans on the doorstep. Cody Jackson in the end zone again.
My question to you is, Kyle, do you believe that Coach Dearman will make a change at the quarterback position? Because, I mean, they're anemic right now on offense.
You know, that's kind of the thought process is, do you want to continue to see the freshman roll and earn valuable snaps against the top 10 defense in the country? Or do you want to try and find some rhythm one way or the other? I tend to lean towards seeing the reps, live reps. Remember, he only entered last week because of the injury to their starter and Destin Wade. This one's on the return, nowhere to go again. KJ Fields has not had the right look on the return this matchup so far. That time it was Kobe Dickens, the redshirt freshman, with the stop. There's a flag down.
Holding, 42, return team, 10-yard penalty, first down.
And Fields is down, as you can see, insult to injury with an injured player, and now a holding call against Northern Alabama on a play that did not go their way initially.
I think you got a short kick by design because you recognize that your coverage team is all over these guys, and great job by Tarleton, and good to see number 10 up on his feet.
1:48 remaining in the half. Tarleton has had some pretty good halftime leads before. They had a 42-7 halftime lead against UCA earlier in the campaign. I don't know if I've ever heard of a penalty being ignored. I don't know if I've ever heard that, but if it's because his knee was down when he fielded the ball.
So it's dead at that point.
It is the dead play,
Yeah.
so there was no chance at the holding. There's a look in the building here at Memorial Stadium, and that was the right call, and it's going to result in a safety. John Austin Wood was swallowed up by A.J. Owens. The Tarleton State defense gets in on the action.
A.J. Owens knows that he's coming on this blitz and times it perfectly. And John Austin Wood, he just turns into a statue. He doesn't know, should I throw this away? Should I scream? What should I do? And there's nothing he can do.
Yeah, A.J. Owens, and it didn't even look like Wood saw him. He was looking downfield, and Owens flying off the second level gets the sack. And the sack turns into a safety.
Wow.
His first solo sack of the year. He did have half a sack earlier in the campaign.
Well, that's a big problem if he didn't see it, but it's right in his face. Yeah, he
saw it right there.
Yeah, he saw it. Just nothing he could do and nowhere to go with the football right up the A gap.
Coach Dearman frustrated on the far sideline. Not the first half he had envisioned. He was confident in what he was bringing to the table this week. When we talked to him earlier in the week, he felt like his defense was playing a better brand of football. Remember, they held West Georgia in check until really the midway point of the third quarter last week. West Georgia was a team that was in the top 25 throughout much of the early parts of this season. And now the free kick is a spiraling bomb. Reeled in by the Texans. On the return, it's Caleb Lewis, and he gets up to the 35-yard line.
I absolutely thought that they would have more yards to pick up, but that's great coverage there by Noah Gregg, basically tracking him down.
Texans can tack on even more. Right now would be their longest or their largest halftime lead of the season. Talked about the 42-7 lead they had against UCA. They were up 24-0 against West Georgia. Really, that's the only other big leads that they've had as Gabalis takes his spot back behind center. They have all three timeouts, 1:40 on the clock. They could be up into the 40s by the time this first half comes to a close.
No, this team they've been frustrated. They had 2 weeks to think about that loss at ACU.
Peyton Kramer goes in motion. Now Gabalis pressured up the middle, rolls out. Gets an extra block and unloads deep down the field. It's underthrown and intercepted. Going the other way is Brian Dilworth. Dilworth with his second pick of the year. And it's the first takeaway of the day for the Lions defense.
And all of that was created by the pressure that they got on Victor Gabalis, and Gabalis escapes it, keeping his eyes up the field, but an errant throw, just not enough air on that throw because he had a man behind the defense.
Looked like Gabalis was unsure whether or not the pressure that was forced by Ingram initially was.
Slip.
Oh, he did, you're right. He lost his footing as he let that ball go, and that lost all of the velocity on it. And it allowed for Brian Dilworth to just sit under it and field it like a center fielder. And a targeting possibility for an offensive player.
Wow. You know what? Being a former defensive player, good. Good.
Former linebacker Heckma Harrison up in the booth.
Good.
Saying it's about time. There is DC Tapscott, who we mentioned earlier, has been in the ball game a couple times this year for North Alabama, but was not the starter tonight. It was John Austin Wood, who has just not had a ton of success. Same stat line almost exactly to what he had last week. 4 for 11 passing, which is exactly what Wood had last week. And instead of 25 yards, which he had against West Georgia, he has 23 yards tonight.
And Kyle, that's why I asked you the question about, right now your freshman quarterback he's just not seeing the field.
Yeah.
And he's starting to get tattooed. And it's just, it's like in boxing, when a guy just can't see the left hook, you got to call a fight because he's going to get knocked out. This is what you're seeing. John Austin Wood a couple of times. They're bringing the rush from different angles. You can see it, man. Coach Tyrone Nix mixing up coverage, mixing up blitzes. and the freshman is, in no man's land. I'm happy that they are going with a different option at the quarterback position. Save this young man's confidence.
Yeah, Tapscott has a little more experience. Fifth-year senior out of Franklin, Tennessee, played at Appalachian State and New Mexico before arriving in Florence.
After review, there's no targeting. First down, North Alabama.
I hate to break it to you, Heckma, but the offensive player will remain in the game for the lack of targeting.
Are you kidding me?
I think that's fair. If he didn't commit a foul, then he didn't commit a foul. Take a look at,
Wow.
44 gets upended.
Well, that's just football.
Yeah, that's a good block is what that is.
Yeah, that's just football. I'm sorry, that's just football. 68. They call that an ear hole.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's Jordan Love, who missed his block initially. That's where the pressure came from, Ingram on the interior. And he worked around to try and pick it up and give Gabalis time to throw, and he did just that. But no targeting called. That's a good thing. That's Tarleton State's starting center.
Yeah, don't want to take him away.
No, not at all.
Don't want to take him away.
DC Tapscott, by the way, first pass attempt sails high.
Wow.
We'll see if Tapscott has a little more success than J.A. Wood did for this Lions bunch.
See if they at least run it.
And they're going to throw it again. He'll step up, and he's wrapped up, taken down. Another sack for the Tarleton State defense. This time, it belongs to Yasir Holmes.
Yeah, they're bringing pressure from all angles right now, and it doesn't matter if it's Yasir Holmes or Devin Sterling, A.J. Owens. They're making
their
sure
first timeout. 30 seconds.
to continue to put pressure on these guys.
Tarleton calls a timeout. Sorry, partner. The sack from Holmes, 5th of the season, 21st of his career.
What that says Coach Witten is keeping his foot on the gas.
That's exactly the case.
Whoa.
Coach Witten understands that you want to keep that momentum going as quickly and often as possible. Team looking for their 10th win of the campaign, and to keep their hopes alive, they are chasing a conference title. Abilene Christian also in the hunt, a team that, of course, that took down Tarleton State last week.
That's all they've been talking about here in Stephenville. Well, they are upset about that loss, but before they met ACU in that game 2 weeks ago, that's all anyone could talk about at the FCS level is how red hot the Tarleton State Texans were and are currently red hot again.
Back behind center, 4 wideouts now for Tapscott. Tapscott, pressure, jumps and throws. There's a flag down. It's in the spot of a hold as Tapscott can't get it away.
Holding. 74. Offense. Penalties declined. 4th down.
And so it's an incomplete pass, 4th down, and the incomplete pass allows Tarleton State to save 2 of their timeouts.
9 minutes, 90 seconds.
I'm shocked by the play calling there for the Lions. I was expecting for them at least to mix in a few runs. 3 straight passes, not a lot of time off of the clock. And they're going to give the ball right back to Victor Gabalis in this offense.
Again, it's Lewis to return, Watford to punt it away. Pressure comes, nearly got there for the Texans. This one does hop into the arms of Lewis, who makes a move at the 10, has some blockers in front from the 30. He is tracked down from behind. That was on accident by Caleb Lewis, but great starting field position after what looked to be a back against the wall scenario.
Does Caleb Lewis have a baseball background? Because this thing basically checks up right into his lap. You're right, partner. He was going to let that thing roll into the end zone. Great awareness and able to field it.
The awareness first to be able to field it on the hop like that. Like you said, it's like a shortstop when the ball caroms one way or the other. He was able to swallow it up and then keep his vision forward and had a nice return, a return of 31 yards. Gabalis throws the screen underneath. And over to go for Hines as he is tracked down by Ingram. There is a penalty marker down. There may have been movement up front.
Yeah, I think they're going to get the defense.
Offside. Defense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Cabales didn't throw that initially. I mean, it was a screen play, so you kind of have to stick with it. But he didn't play the free play card there like you would anticipate.
Yeah, there's a screen. Obviously, everybody's going short.
Three receivers to the left here for 1st and 5. Lewis now the tailback, and they get him again. Now it's an obvious free play. Cabales throws over the middle. It's caught by Kramer. Shakes a man at the 42-yard line, and he's chopped down. Kramer with another big reception.
Offside. 5. Defense. Penalties declined. Results of the plays. First down, Tarleton.
Man, this referee's trying to get after it, huh?
Yeah,
First, offsides 5, and then, of course, let's get after it and keep the clock running here.
let's not waste any time.
Free play. Play action. Now Cabales wants the middle of the field again, overthrows his target. Back-to-back interceptions for a
Ball's
team.
out.
Oh, and the ball pops out again. That's recovered by the Texans. They get it back. Bryce Parker hops on the loose football after it was intercepted by Drake Fowler. The redshirt freshman from Little Rock had the pick, and then Tarleton State gets it right back. I was just about to say, this is a team that doesn't turn the football over, and they've done it multiple times in the first half.
Ruling
And now,
the field is that the interception was fumbled during the return and recovered by Tarleton. Tarleton is using their second timeout of the game.
and that is the
30
correct
seconds
call.
remaining.
Wow. Bryce Parker, he just muscles it away.
Give credit to Parker ripping the football out and keeping this possession alive, so that works as a completion.
Well, hey,
It won't count as one. It'll count as an interception and then a fumble.
I think Victor Cabales gives thumbs up right there. Just unbelievable.
Previous
That's
play is under
bad
review to
throw.
determine whether or not the interception
Where
was
an
fumbled.
overthrow, but he just basically took that ball away. You know, maybe they're reviewing to see if the defender was able to get his knee down beforehand, but the ball is out before.
Yeah, Drake Fowler, you can see him 30 in the white. It looked like his knees touched the ground, but the ball was in the hands already for Parker. I expect this to stand, which would then put the ball at the 21-yard line. Tarleton did use their second timeout, so the clock is stopped at 13 seconds. That's at least one, maybe two shots to the end zone for the Texans. If not, they can trot on a field goal unit with that last timeout. The whole field is open.
Yeah, I think they're going for the throw here. I expect 2 plays, both to the end zone.
Even when things go right for North Alabama, they go wrong. After the interception, it's a fumble, immediately recovered by the Texans.
And you're not saying that tongue in cheek. That is absolutely what's happening. I mean, here it is. You may get an opportunity to just get back into the locker room. That last offensive possession did not go well. And here's another look at it.
Yeah, that ball is very much so out.
Ball's out. Ball is out before his knees hit the touch. So.
And the only way that Parker recovers that football is if he holds on to it. Because if the ball pops out, there's 4 or 5 Lion defenders that are around it that could have hopped on top of the loose football. As we await the call.
That's a great hustle, though, by Bryce Parker.
Texans offense staying on
After
the field.
review, the call on the field is upheld. It will be first down, Tarleton State, and they did use their second timeout.
So there's the burning of the second timeout. Our head referee, Matthew Jones, making the call. One more look at it, and you see the ball on the left side of the screen.
Yeah, ball's out. Clearly.
A fantastic look by our ESPN crew to get multiple angles of that. Trips receivers to the right. Gabalis, fresh off his second interception, picks up about 34 yards again.
First and 10, Texans from the line. 21.
And yes, that's exactly what I meant to say. That's how crazy that play just was. First and 10, Texans. Gabalis, all sorts of time, has to throw it underneath. It's complete to Lewis. And the Texans might have called their second timeout. There were whistles and a flag.
Helmet came off a Tarleton State player. They have elected to use their third and final timeout to avoid the 10-second runoff. 30 seconds in.
And so they have to, with the 4 seconds left on the clock, call that timeout, or else it would have been the end of the half.
Yeah, great job by the Lions in coverage. Hey, basically, Victor Gabalis, who has all day, he's ordering DoorDash back there, waiting on something to come open, and finally elects to come to throw the ball to something underneath.
Anthony Young ripped the helmet of Peyton Kramer off on the sideline, so there should be a field goal attempt.
Yes.
That would put the Texans up 40-0 going into the halftime break. It'll be right around a 34-yard field goal, and that's exactly what it would be. Off the right hash mark for Brad Larson. He is 7 for 7 from 30 to 39 yards. 9 for 11 overall on the season. Larson, senior out of Prosper, Texas, will line it up. The holder is Corbin Poston. Excuse me, that's Charlie Mullen as the holder. Good snap, good hold. This one is away, and the line drive kick is right down the middle. The clock hits 0. Tarleton State, the number 5 team in the FCS, leads this one over North Alabama 40-0 through 2 quarters of play.
I think they call this clicking in all cylinders, and that's what you're getting from them. And the way that this offense is moving, Victor Gabalis, I think a few miscues there in the second quarter with some interceptions, but one of them recovered by Bryce Parker, who's just continuing to work. Man, I'm looking forward to the second half.
Let's go down on the sideline where Laura Sadler is joined by head coach Todd Whitten.
Coach, you go into the half with a shutout. You've limited North Alabama to just 39 yards of total offense. Defensively, what is working for you guys? Brag about them a little bit.
Yeah, we're playing great on defense. Our pass rush has really been effective. We've gotten sacks, got a good safety down here. Playing really hard.
It's a great 2 quarters. We know it's a 4-quarter game, though. What will be your message in the locker room to keep this momentum going, make sure they don't get too far ahead of themselves?
Yeah, no, we got to finish. We got to come out and have a really good third quarter, and then we can look at things.
All right, thank you, Coach. Back to the booth.
Thank you, Laura. How many times, Heckma, have we talked to Coach Whitten, and he's been very real. We got to play better here, got to play better there. Hard to have critique when your team leads 40-0 at halftime.
He's a man of few words, but one thing that he does is get his message across, and you can tell these guys have heard the message that he's been giving them for the last 2 weeks. They came out, they're playing their hearts out this first half.
Halftime in Stephenville, all Texans through 2.
the Triple Crown, you know we'll treat you right. Yeah, get on down to the Triple Crown and pick out your ride. Got what you need, come on, get your keys. Yeah, we got the best deal in town, so get on down to the Triple Crown.
Right now at Triple Crown Ford Lincoln, get 3.9% financing for 60 months on a new F-150 or get 0 for 60 on a new Lincoln Navigator.
Well, we got the best deal in town, so get on down to the Triple Crown.
Family, service, integrity, loyalty, and security. Each of these values is central to National Farm Life Insurance Company. Purchasing life insurance for the benefit of your loved ones is an important decision. On behalf of our agents in Texas, Oklahoma, and New Mexico, we look forward to the opportunity to serve you and your family. National Farm Life Insurance.
Taste what it's like to be a Texan Rider, the official craft beer of Tarleton State.
Memorial Stadium in Stephenville, Texas, where it is all Texans at the moment. 40-0. The number 5 team in the FCS looks the part here in Week 12 of ESPN's coverage of college football. Alongside Heckma Harrison with Laura Sadler down on the sideline, I'm Kyle Yeomans, and it was the passing game early that worked to perfection for the Texans. Victor Gabales almost immediately had an impact, had the 78-yarder to Peyton Kramer. He had 4 passing scores in the first half to 4 different receivers.
Yeah, it's dealer's choice for Victor Gabales, and he's having his way with this defense. They don't know where he's going with the ball. I mean, all of his receivers, they're running their routes expecting that the ball's going to come to them, and offensively they've just been dialing it up.
And really the rushing game was not there for the Texans in the first half, just 29 yards on the ground. But when you're throwing it around the way that you have, you're going to have a lot of success.
Well, you got a Lions defense that's their Achilles heel. They're secondary. They're compromised in a lot of ways, not only with injuries, but look, these guys they're outmanned. I mean, they have some really fast guys on that side, and I think Peyton Kramer, that first half that he had, man, was absolutely wonderful. He and Victor Gabales' connection is obvious.
No doubt about it, and there really has been a connection across the board. Speaking on the defensive side of the ball, Coach Todd Whitten talked about how happy he was with the way that the Texans played in that unit in the first half.
Hey, Coach Tyrone Nix, their defensive coordinator, he is dialing it, recognizing that he has a freshman out there, so the ability to dial it up, send blitzes from different angles and switching up coverages, the freshman just didn't know what he was seeing out there.
And that's really the case so far. When it's 40-0, there's not a whole lot of critique you can have from a coaching staff standpoint. And when Laura caught up with Todd Whitten at halftime, that's exactly what he said. He said, we're playing good on both sides of the ball. How do they continue that in the second half? Or if you're North Alabama, how do you try and find a bit of rhythm there?
You know, that's a complicated question because right now you really don't have anything to lean on or hang your hat on. And so, look, you're going to have a new quarterback out there. Look, try and get something positive happening for him. What are his favorite throws? Get something short going. You know, they've been going with the Wildcat predominantly in the first half. They've been having some success, but you still don't have any points. So how much success are you really having?
Yeah, Wood at quarterback was not effective. They went with Tapscott later in that second quarter just to try and find a little bit of rhythm there. But overall, it really wasn't working for the North Alabama side on the offensive side. Something that also hasn't been working throughout these games throughout the year has been Heckma's trivia knowledge. It has not been working throughout the year.
Really?
But we're going to give you one final shot here. It's your final game calling this year with the Tarleton State Texans.
Let's go.
It's time for our trivia question of the day. Let's take a look at what it is. What is Coach Whitten's after-game meal? We talked about this earlier in the week. He actually gave us this answer on the coach's call. Is it Sonic, Taco Bell, Whataburger, of course a fan favorite around Texas, and then Panda Express? That's a fun choice as well.
You know what? I always get the breakfast toaster. No, you know what? Matter of fact, you guys going to take a break. You want it right now? Because I can give it to you now if you want it now. Okay.
I want the answer
okay.
now.
I get the breakfast toaster from Sonic. No meat, just egg and cheese, potato wedges on the side, and please give me my cherry limeade. Thank you very much.
Todd Whitten's answer is Sonic, so you're right there. Way to rebound. Way to rebound, Heckma Harrison. Well done, sir. 40-0, Tarleton State leads at halftime here from Memorial Stadium. It's a win for Heckma Harrison as well. We've got more coverage coming your way next.
Told you.
Triple Crown, you know we'll treat you right. Yeah, get on down to the Triple Crown and pick out your ride. Got what you need. Come on, get your keys. Yeah, we got the best deal in town, so get on down to the Triple Crown.
Right now at Triple Crown Ford Lincoln, get 3.9% financing for 60 months on a new F-150 or get 0 for 60 on a new Lincoln Navigator.
Well, we got the best deal in town, so get on down to the Triple Crown.
Family, service, integrity, loyalty, and security. Each of these values is central to National Farm Life Insurance Company. Purchasing life insurance for the benefit of your loved ones is an important decision. On behalf of our agents in Texas, Oklahoma, and New Mexico, we look forward to the opportunity to serve you and your family. National Farm Life Insurance.
Taste what it's like to be a Texan. Texan Rider, the official craft beer of Tarleton State.
Halftime here at Tarleton Memorial Stadium in Stephenville. It is all Texans, 40-0 on top of North Alabama through 2 quarters of play here in Week 12 of the college football season. And it started early and it continued often for Victor Cabales and company. 12 for 16 passing, 282 yards, 4 touchdowns to 4 different Texans receivers. Heckma Harrison, they were very impressive in the first half on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that defensively they did their job as well. And how do we not mention Hines and the run that he had coming back after dislocating his elbow? Man, I tell you, when you're good, you're good, and that's what you're getting right now from the Texans offensively. Man, they just had themselves a first half, and guess what? They get the ball to start the second.
Yeah, they won the toss, deferred to the third quarter. And the start of the second half could be more of the same. Todd Whitten putting some teach tape out there on how to take care of business at home when you have conference title hopes on the line. North Alabama has challenged some top teams in the FCS throughout the season. Went to 2 overtimes against number 5 Illinois State back on September 20th. Fell because they failed to convert on a 2-point conversion in that Week 4 matchup. And then they went to overtime against Utah Tech. Lost because they missed a PAT in overtime that would have sent it into a second OT against Utah Tech. And then they led last week against West Georgia, a team that was in the top 25 throughout much of the season. And they ended up giving up a 17-7 lead and fell 24-17. Not the case in Stephenville as the second half is underway. The Texans take a knee. Their first possession will start from their own 25-yard line. And the next question, I think, for Tarleton is just how quickly do you pull the trigger on getting Victor Cabales out of the game? How often are you going to see him here in the second half with a 40-point lead and, of course, FCF playoffs right around the corner?
I wouldn't be surprised if I saw Daniel Greek early here because of what you just said. You saw he came in for the design run and right on cue.
15-yard penalty. First down, Tarleton.
And that's not going to help the cause for North Alabama. 15 extra yards tacked on to the end of the play.
And right on cue, Daniel Greek, ladies and gentlemen.
And that is the case. Cabales, 4 touchdowns thrown, just 12 for 16 passing. They didn't attempt a ton of passes, but really the big play was there. 4 completions of over 34 yards or more, including a 78-yard touchdown pitch and catch to Peyton Kramer. First snap to Greek on the drive, and he turns and hands it to Tylen Hines up the field for a gain of 6.
Yeah, I think if you're Coach Todd Whitten, you didn't like those numbers as far as the running game was concerned. You want to expand on that, and Hines back in the game, and he picks up 5 yards on first down.
Everybody in tight to the right side of the line of scrimmage here for 2nd down and 4. This one below Greek, put on the ground. He's able to retreat back to it, but did he hold on to the ball? It's close. Looks like it is recovered by Daniel Greek, who initially jumped on top of it but lost possession again and then ends up with the loose football. A massive loss on 2nd down and short after the fumbled snap.
Well, just a low snap, and initially it looked like he was on top of the ball, but just momentum allowed for the ball to roll underneath him. Good for Tarleton to get back on top of it.
Officially sets up 3rd down and 20, a loss of 16 after the shotgun snap goes awry. Empty backfield, Daniel Greek in the shotgun. 3rd down and 20, throw left. This one is complete. It's a gain of about 8 yards, but nowhere close to the line to gain. It's 4th down. Let's check in with Laura Sadler down on the sideline.
Coach Dearman for North Alabama didn't mince words coming out of the half, saying they're playing an embarrassing brand of football. He said it was an awful first half for them. He said that they were getting outplayed on everything. Tarleton was beating them physically in every phase of the game. He said they have to come out swinging with a tougher brand of ball this half. Coach Dearman also saying that they haven't been able to move forward at all in that first half, and so they are making a change at quarterback, and they're putting DC Tapscott in to see if they can generate an offense with him. Kyle?
And we'll have a chance to see that North Alabama offense when we get this punt down at about the 11, or no, that's the 16-yard line. Good punt from Tarleton, but a defensive stop on the opening drive of the 2nd half for North Alabama. You hear the insight there from Laura Sadler as John Austin Wood finished the first half 4 for 11 passing, 23 yards. And Tapscott threw a pass, but it was not completed. And he will start the 3rd quarter behind center.
Yeah, and I'm sure Coach Dearman was not happy with his squad at halftime. You know, they just missed opportunities, didn't have a ton of penalties, but again, shooting themselves in the foot, fumbles, miscues all around offensively.
Tapscott throws this one looking for the deep ball down the left side. It is caught. Biggest play from scrimmage for the Lions. Tanaka Scott with the reception, and the Kansas transfer is into enemy territory.
Their offense does work, and you see it right there with a big pickup. All the way on the outside to number 2, Tanaka Scott. May have been the changeup that they needed.
North Alabama had 23 passing yards as they try it again. Almost the same spot, same play. Looking for Tanaka Scott again. They had 23 passing yards in the first half in its entirety. And they picked up over 23 yards on that one completion to Scott down the left sideline. 43 yards was the exact number.
Yeah, you're not going to win a bunch of games playing like that. And yeah, the change was necessary.
From the Texans' 41-yard line, they motion Allen out and then back to the left of Tapscott. Tapscott throws left. It's Scott again. You think there was a conversation at the halftime break to try and get Tanaka Scott involved in the offense?
Yeah, I think so. And Coach Dearman not happy with this offense. Not happy with any of the progress that they were making. Come in here, man, and you make sure you get this 6'5", 215-pound target some catches.
A little bit of pressure there from Tarleton State off the edge. Good job by Tapscott to stick in there and deliver a throw. 3rd down and 6. Time to throw. Again, it's over the middle. It's complete to the tight end, Caleb Heatherly. He has first down yardage down to the Texans' 21.
Okay. DC Tapscott definitely looks a lot more comfortable in this offense, Kyle. He's, you find your tight end, Caleb Heatherly, in between a safety and a linebacker. Man, this offense is running a little bit more efficiently here in the 3rd quarter.
Now over 100 total yards in the game. Tapscott again with time, throws it behind his receiver. incomplete. Again, he was looking for Lake. One of these receivers that have been in and out of the lineup due to injury throughout the year for North Alabama. Substitutions on both sides of the line of scrimmage as Tapscott sets up behind center again. Play action, Tapscott lofts it up, right side. Good coverage all the way through.
Yep. Playing that one to the boundary, and you're not going to continue to go at Rawls. And he's challenging. You hear him barking over there on the sideline. Like, come on, keep throwing it over here.
What a season he's had so far. 30 tackles, including a couple for loss. 3 interceptions, including a 57-yard pick six against UT Chattanooga earlier in the campaign. A couple pass breakups and possible all-conference honors heading his way, the way that he's played throughout the year. 3rd down and 10, North Alabama. Tapscott throws left. It's incomplete off the hands of KJ Fields. It falls to the turf despite a couple Texans in the area.
Well, one thing we know right now, you're not gonna kick a field goal, right? And although that was a miss, I really do. I trust DC Tapscott here on 4th and 10 to at least pick up the 1st down.
North Alabama 1 for 2 on 4th down throughout the night. They need all 10 yards. Got to get to the 11. This one thrown into coverage. It's tipped and intercepted. Giovanni Melidor with the pick. And it's a turnover forced by the Texans defense.
Well, I don't trust you to throw it into triple coverage, okay? And when you do that, that's what's going to happen. The lights are going to start to flicker in Stephenville. Another turnover for this opportunistic Texans defense.
2nd interception of the year for Melidor. He flies in with the pick. Texans football when we come back. Daniel Greek back at quarterback following the interception by the Texans defense. Giovanni Melidor with his 2nd interception of the campaign. And it's the 2nd drive as the quarterback for Daniel Greek in this one. He did enter for a single play, a goal line package run in the 1st half. Did not score on that rushing attempt. He's 1 for 1 for 9 yards so far in replacement of Victor Gabalis. Hines off the play action. They complete it out to Jackson, who's escorted out of play at about the 15.
Yeah, Cody Jackson had himself a first half, capped it off with the touchdown. And doesn't matter if you throw something short to him. A guy like that, he can break a tackle and take it to the house. So, and, Lions defense really still has to be careful, even with Daniel Greek in the game.
Daniel Greek has had some success as the starter this year, filled in for the injured Gabalis in multiple wins earlier in the season. Taking their time on 2nd down and 3. Go back to the ground with Hines, who does have the first down, or he's right at the marker. Looked like Braden Smith lost his helmet. He was looking for an illegal hands to the face. He's going to have to sit out for a play. Alec Ambrosia steps in for Tarleton. And Hines checks out as well. 3rd down and 1 as he was held short of the marker.
And what a change of pace Hines is. And him, Caleb Lewis, and I think Trey Page obviously out in this game. They have a great backfield.
And again, Daniel Greek on the quarterback keeper, a designed QB run, stopped behind the line of scrimmage. That's the 2nd time that they've tried that exact play. They tried it in the goal line situation earlier, and now they try it here on 3rd and short, and he is stopped behind the line of scrimmage. Again, Jaheim Ingram, who's made multiple plays tonight, combined with Caleb Brown, making the tackle for loss.
I think you forget that Daniel Greek is 6'5", 230 pounds. So hence the reason for those design runs. And you think on a 3rd and 1, that's easy pickings for your quarterback.
Transfer from Mississippi State. Played a little bit out there in Starkville, but they are forced to punt here, and it's a high kick. A lot of hang time, not a lot of distance for the Texans, but it does take a Tarleton State bounce. Settling at the 49-yard line. North Alabama will start in plus territory, still held scoreless through 2.5 quarters on the road. Tarleton State, top 5 team in the FCS, also at the top of the UAC. Abilene Christian right there as well. They hold the tiebreaker at the moment. A loss by Abilene Christian next week and a win by Tarleton State against Austin Peay would at least clinch a championship for the Texans. A win today keeps them in the hunt as they continue their season. Abilene Christian already winning today as well, as the Wildcats continue to put up big numbers. Offensive coordinator Graham Harrell, who of course had some success out in West Texas with the Texas Tech Red Raiders as their offensive coordinator, really challenged this Tarleton State defense in their last time out, and the defense has responded in a big way tonight.
Yeah, and we talked about it earlier, what they were doing through 8 weeks. And then when they came up against ACU offensively just exploded all over this defense. And there have been the question marks for this Tarleton State defense. I think they've kind of gotten back on track defensively and offensively. Really interested to see once playoff season starts.
North Alabama back on offense, 2nd down and 6. This one thrown right into coverage again. Batted down. The intended target was KJ Fields. Fields thought he was held.
Yeah, a bunch of contact on the outside. And I will tell you this, these referees have been consistent about not calling PI.
Haven't thrown a penalty flag on one yet. That was Bones Marks on the defensive side of things. Only 4 penalties combined between the two programs, 2 for Tarleton, 2 for North Alabama. Tapsky looking right, throws into coverage, intercepted. He just did not see the Tarleton defender Oscar Emmons at the 2nd level. 2nd straight pick for the Texans defense.
I think he's going to the outside to Jeremiah Thomas, and the freshman just maybe runs the wrong route. You look at where this ball is and where the nearest receiver is, and again, I just think that's a miscommunication. Tapscott is thinking that route is going to be flat or he's going to run a stop. But either way, that's another bad turnover.
3rd interception of the year for Emmons, who had a pick 6 against Portland State back in week 0. If he would have stayed on his feet there, it would have been another pick 6 for the senior transfer from Mississippi Valley State.
Yeah, that's a house call.
Had to range back to make the grab first. Another turnover forced by the Texans defense. Only 3 points off of defensive turnovers so far. The Texans complete this one out to the left. Quick grab by Blake Smith as he turns upfield.
Hey Kyle, this is one of those games where as it progresses, you're asking yourself, are the Lions going to be able to put any points on the board? Offensively, man, this thing is just looking bad.
And they were able to get a couple big passing plays, had a 43-yarder 2 drives ago, but they've both ended in interceptions recently, and they've had 4 turnovers in the game. Texans, the #1 takeaway team in the FCS, now up to 33 turnovers gained. It's pretty impressive. You think about how often they've made those turnovers a reality. 33 turnovers in just 11 games now is pretty fantastic ratio to work with for Todd Whitten and company.
I don't care what level you play at. If you're turning the ball over like that, you're going to win a ton of games. This defense has carried their water also.
Man in motion on 2nd down. Ball put on the turf. It's picked up by Hines, who tries to navigate out of trouble, and he won't get there. A loss of 2 on the play could have been much worse for the Texans.
Should have been much worse. And that's just Hines just ad-libbing all by himself.
Seen some fumbles from both sides tonight. North Alabama is lucky that some of their fumbles earlier in the game from J.A. Wood did not result in takeaways because he was able to land on top of it. Could have been 6 or 7 turnovers forced because of that. Tarleton has had a couple of interceptions. None by Greek so far as he's back to pass here. Tries to step up, buys a little bit of time, and now dumps it off in the backfield for a gain of maybe 1. Lewis just back to the line of scrimmage he goes.
I know it's late in the ball game and in this third quarter, but I think when you're seeing those jet sweeps earlier to Cody Jackson, how effective they were, and when you bring in a quarterback, Daniel Greek, you're back up, go back to some of that. I think those looks really were explosive. This Lions defense really didn't know how to react to it.
A lot of communication on the back end required by the Lions to try and make something happen there. Pegues is back at his own 11-yard line, signals for the fair catch. And North Alabama gets a second straight stop on defense. They've turned it over 4 times, but their defense is stood strong. However, they still trail big in this one. It's time now to take a look at our Clark Real Estate Group house call of the game. It was Victor Cabales down the left sideline. Peyton Kramer, 78 yards on the first pass play of the evening. A house call for Kramer. It was the longest touchdown pass of the season for Victor Cabales and the Texans offense, and that's how this one started, and it continued like that pretty often through the first half.
Hey, the roomies on the connection early and often. These guys obviously have a connection.
Kramer has been fantastic throughout the season. That was touchdown number 6 of his tenure. Former transfer from Oklahoma State who did not have a touchdown prior to the 2021 season, had 3 against UT Chattanooga earlier in the year. Has made his impact felt throughout this offense, throughout the season. He's the leading receiver for Tarleton State tonight. 3 catches for 128 yards and a touchdown.
He's not a one-trick pony either. He can route you up.
Second down and 8. Tapscott back at quarterback, and he has an open receiver. This one caught down the left sideline, or left hash mark rather. Justin Pegues with the grab. That's his first positive reception of the day. He had one that went for a loss earlier in the first half.
Yeah, it took the words right out of my mouth. We just hadn't had a whole lot to say about our player of the game, player to watch in this game.
Transfer from Bowling Green is electrifying when he gets the ball in his hands. He just hasn't had it in his hands tonight. Again, Tapscott into coverage, intercepted. It's another pick, the 5th takeaway by the Texans defense tonight. Avion Rice with his first of the season, and the entire defense celebrating in the end zone.
Well, it looks, maybe that's why Coach Dearman didn't start DC Tapscott in that first half. Because of throws like this, he just doesn't see the safety coming over.
Again, looking for Tanaka Scott. Look at the celebration after the fact. The lights start flashing again. Everybody pointing up to the light stanchions here at Memorial Stadium.
Yeah, that's everybody. It's the entire defense. Yeah, that's the first and second defense running into the end zone.
Happy for the junior and his first pick of the season, his third of his career. Transfer from Hutchinson Junior College up in Kansas. There is a penalty marker down, sitting at about the 7-yard line, and this might be the excessive celebration, possibly, unsportsmanlike conduct. Oh, there's one in the end zone as well.
I know who's not going to be happy about that.
Who was that?
Coach Witt.
I would believe so. 3 straight drives, all ending with interceptions. First it was Melidor.
We're determining which Tarleton players left the bench and removed their helmet in order to celebrate the end zone.
And that's the thought process here. The first interception was to Melidor, the second one to Omar Emmons, and then this one to Rice. Back-to-back-to-back takeaways by the Texans defense. Now 5 turnovers forced in the game, up to 34 on the season, and they're +3 again in the turnover margin, which they entered at +24 in the turnover margin.
Yeah, these guys are blowing off steam tonight. This has been a great defensive performance, basically shutting down the run and really taking away the pass. The Lions haven't had any escape. They haven't had anywhere to go. Obviously, your freshman quarterback, he's just seeing ghosts. And then you come in with DC Tapscott, and he's getting a little bit of the same. And they're not even putting as much pressure on him as they were on John Austin Wood.
You see the conversation continuing between the Tarleton State sideline and these officials. I know it's a rule that has to be enforced, but with it being 40-0 late in the third quarter, you would think there might be a little leeway here. Not the case by these officials. And there's Coach Brent Dearman, arms folded on the North Alabama sideline. Here's the call after some more discussion.
All right. There were multiple players on Tarleton who came on the field to celebrate from the bench or remove their helmet in an excessive celebration manner. The following numbers received their first unsportsmanlike conduct foul of the game. Numbers 2, 33, 7, 8, 6, 38, 1, 27, 91, 44, 9, and 16. It will be one 15-yard penalty enforced from the end of the return. First down, Tarleton State.
So remember how I said it was the entire defense?
Yeah.
It was the entire defense that they just called a personal foul penalty on in celebration following the interception with their teammate Avion Rice. As he started to read that off, I tried to keep track of it, and then it just got out of hand.
Yeah, this is everybody.
And that's exactly what it was.
Everybody.
So it's one 15-yard penalty. You can't enforce all of those.
Just shocked. I'm looking down there and I see a former Kansas State great, Jonathan Pete Beasley, standing on the sideline.
Oh, okay. A couple individuals that played for Kansas State in the building tonight alongside yourself. This one's completed outside to Cody Jackson, shakes the defender. Jackson turns on the Jets, and he's pushed out of bounds inside the 20-yard or 25-yard line. They actually said he stepped out at the 26.
My, what a move this is. And Greek on the outside to Cody Jackson. We were talking about him in the open. again, one of those kids, all you have to do is give him a slither of daylight, and that's what you'll get.
Longest completion of the night for Daniel Greek at the quarterback position. He's now 5 for 5 throwing the football, trying to make it 6 for 6. Has a wide open man in the end zone. It's a touchdown Texans, this time to Bryce Parker.
Bryce Parker. I tell you what, I feel good about that touchdown to that young man because earlier he had a ball, man, that it was overthrown to him, but he hustled to regain the possession. Absolutely wonderful connection between he and Daniel Greek. And just like that, man, Tarleton State again putting more points on the board here in the third quarter.
PAT right down the middle, straight into the scoreboard end of the field as we take another look at this one.
Yeah, Greek has all day. And when you're running that wide open by yourself, the only thing that's left to do is secure the catch. That's just routes on air right there, Kyle.
It's one of those where you look back to the football and you just say, I can't drop this one.
I don't know what that dance is, but I like it.
Bryce Parker, sophomore out of Corona, California, who, like you said earlier, saved a turnover for the Texans, and it resulted in points prior to the halftime break.
Everybody's dancing. Even Larson got a two-step going on the sideline.
Just got to make sure that you keep the helmet on, apparently.
Clearly.
26-yarder to Bryce Parker. First touchdown of the night for Daniel Greek at the quarterback position. 7 touchdowns this season with just 1 interception. That's such an embarrassment of riches for the Texans. And when we talk to this staff throughout the season, one of the things that they continue to harp on is the amount of depth that they have at each of these positions. It's mostly the defensive side that they brag about the depth on the Tarleton sideline. But when you've got multiple quarterbacks you trust, that's how you end up at 10-1 or 11-1 in a regular season.
Yeah, I mean, Victor Cabales is obviously having one heck of a season. I mean, he's leading in a ton of categories. I mean, he's playing flawless football right now. And then you have a 6'5", 230-pound quarterback that can come off the bench and make throws like that. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head when you say embarrassment of riches, because that's what it is when you have 2 quarterbacks on your roster like this.
Both are Power 4 transfers that have had plenty of experience before they've arrived in Stephenville. Of course, Gabales is the senior transfer from Washington State, spent some time at Utah Tech. Daniel Greek, the senior out of Argyle, Texas initially, played for Argyle Liberty Christian, who's now coached by soon-to-be Hall of Fame caliber tight end Jason Witten.
You don't say.
He was before Jason's time at Argyle Liberty Christian. But then he went to Mississippi State, and now he's ended up here in Tarleton. North Alabama back on offense. Quick completion out wide to the right. Jaden Daniels on the reception. Or on the rush, rather. So he picks up 7. Jaden Albert with the stop. And they're going to toss it again to him. See if Daniels' burst of speed can start picking up some first downs and maybe keep it on the ground a little bit, since they've thrown an interception on 3 straight offensive possessions.
Boy, a flag on the far side. And maybe this is another one of those personal fouls. Took someone out over there on the sideline also.
The result of the play was a first down for North Alabama. After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness number 2. Offense, 15-yard penalty. First down.
And that's just a frustration foul for Tanaka Scott as we take a look at it here.
Yeah, he's blocking on the outside. You see him, he just basically drives his man all the way to the sideline. Wow.
And he had hands up in the face mask of Jaden Albert.
The play was reviewed on an expedited basis. The runner was short of the line to gain, 34-yard line. 15-yard penalty will be recorded there, and it will be third down.
That's the second time that North Alabama has had a play reviewed. And it goes against them in this game.
Is it expedited review?
That's exactly
you
the
get
case.
an expedited review. no time wasted.
And that's big because instead of it being first down and 15, now it's third down and 15. Because if you pick up the line of game prior to the personal foul penalty, you at least get the downs back.
Yeah,
it's the same yardage either way.
Correction, third and 16.
That's exactly the case. They tack on another yard there. Tabscott, pressure, trying to get away, and he does get taken to the ground.
And lucky that he held on to that ball because he has Yasir Holmes just hunting him down, trying to take that ball out of his hands.
Second sack of the night for Holmes. Like you said, nearly a fumble. Tabscott held on to it.
9-96.
Fourth down and a mile now for North Alabama as they send the punt team on.
Yeah, this has been a game for their defense.
This defense upset with how they played against ACU 2 weeks ago. We're chewing on it on the bye week. And a return possible here for Lewis. Caleb Lewis, shifty on the return, gets into plus territory, and a late flag flies as well.
During the return, holding 13 returns, 10-yard penalties, first down, Tarleton State.
And that will back up the Texans a bit. It seems like, at least through the first three quarters, and you mentioned this a couple times tonight, this team is playing with a little bit of an edge, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They didn't feel like they fell in that ACU game playing their best football, and they wanted to play their best brand of football tonight against a team in North Alabama that just doesn't stack up the same on paper coming in.
No, they were disappointed, and you could hear it when we interviewed Coach Witten. He was, again, he's a man of few words, but he basically was talking about getting back to basics, the fundamentals, in the coaches speak, which you would expect. But in between all of that, he said it, man, we were disappointed in our performance, and we couldn't wait to get back on the field today just to get that out, that taste out of their mouth. I think they accomplished that here today.
Here's the extremely explosive Tylen Haynes, picks up 11 on the first play of the drive.
And Kyle, you were talking about the depth that they have at certain positions. Offensive line, not only the offensive line, their receivers. Defensively, I mean, they're loaded defensively, but the running back room, man, I mean, we hadn't even seen a ton of Caleb Lewis tonight, but he is a big part of the production that they have in the running attack.
No doubt about it. And the running back room depth has been tested throughout this season. They're lucky to have Hines back in the fold, and here he goes again. Ripped down at the 35-yard line. Strong tackle there by Cameron Jamar. But when you start the season with Tylen Haynes winning the job out of fall camp, then you see him hurt in week 0 against Portland State. You immediately have Trey Page step up and play at a very high level. He's had 840 yards and 7 touchdowns this year, but now he's banged up and out. Hasn't played the last few weeks. Caleb Lewis has been in and out of the lineup. They even had to convert a quarterback in the sophomore James Page to come in and play running back at different times in the season. They've needed all of those guys to step up in a big way, but having Hines and Lewis back together again, if they get Trey Page back soon, it'll be a complete room. But right now they're playing some complete football. 47-0 Tarleton State at the end of the third.
and Tarleton State have been the turnover kings. And when you do it at a clip like this where you lead college football, man, teams come in knowing that you are going to get the ball back. These guys today have been all over the Lions, as you see right there. Omar Emmons getting in on the act. At some point, the entire defense has to get in on the act as well.
5 takeaways for the Texans defensively, including 3 interceptions. Now 34 takeaways on the season as their FCS best mark continues to grow, and they are plus 27 in the turnover category this year. A run by Greek, stopped short of the line to gain, bringing up 3rd down and 3. On to the 4th quarter we go here from Stephenville, Texas, alongside Heckma Harrison and Laura Sadler down on the sideline. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Delighted you've joined us here on this Saturday night, week 12 of the college football regular season. Starting to wind down, some great games across the nation. And so far, Tarleton State has put together a near perfect performance.
North Alabama has used their first timeout.
I love this defense, Kyle. I really do. These guys are all heart, but when you have a guy like Yasir Holmes that's coming, bringing pressure off the edge, nowhere for quarterbacks to go.
No doubt about that. The offense still trying to convert on 3rd down and 3 when we come back to Stephenville. Daniel Greek in the Tarleton State offense back out on the field, faced with a 3rd down and 3. Texans with over 400 yards of total offense in this one, 366 through the air. They've only tallied 42 yards on the ground. A team that averages over 215 yards per game rushing has been negated in the ground game throughout this one. Empty backfield for Greek. He's going to step up and run on the quarterback draw, splits a couple defenders, and he has the 1st down to the 30.
Yeah, don't tell me he didn't want it. Nice splitting defenders, running over guys. Oh, and unfortunately, one of the North Alabama defenders got the worst of that collision.
Yeah, it's the linebacker, Seth Hampton, holding his right side there. You never want to see a star player like that go down. He's a star in multiple levels, not only on the field. He's had 65 tackles on the season coming in, but he's also had quite the established social media following on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. With his content, he has a day in the life of a college athlete and a couple of different high-profile videos on his accounts where he's amassed a solid following on social media. This is unfortunately the real part of being a college athlete is you're going to deal with some injuries from time to time, and hopefully he's able to return very quickly here.
And you know what Seth's family probably wants us to mention more than anything other than the social media following?
Oh, I have an idea. I'm going to let you say it, though.
He's a valedictorian.
Yes, he is.
So, come on, man.
Incredibly smart individual, extremely talented on and off the football field. Hope the best for that young man as he gets checked up on the North Alabama sideline. There's a lot of talent with the Lions. Of course, the score is not where they want it to be, and the season is not going to end up the way they wanted it to either. A couple wins against Eastern Kentucky and Northeastern State. They wrap up their year next week against a really good Southern Utah team that you and I saw a couple weeks ago. There goes Tylen Hines again. He gets upended and pushed backwards. Picks up about 4 yards. But when you're North Alabama and you go on the road against the top 5 team, it's going to go one of two ways. You're going to either have a chance at the upset, or it's going to end up with the Texans getting right in all the different ways like they have in this one.
Yeah, when you talk about this season, Kyle, they've been decimated by injuries. And it really is hard to be productive, especially offensively, when, your quarterback goes down and you're missing offensive linemen. Nothing has gone right for them all season. And, man, it's on the defensive end, they've just been on the field way too much to have an impact.
Handoff to Hines, goes for first down yardage, now into the North Alabama red zone. Texans have had a lot of success in the red zone, 4 for 4 now on their trips inside the 20.
Offensive line still opening holes in the fourth quarter.
Well, with a lot of second string offensive players in the fold, this is where the lack of depth due to the injury at the running back position can actually be a detriment to the Texans as Hines turns the corner and he reaches for the pylon. His second rushing touchdown of the night. What a return to the football field for Tylen Hines.
And you were saying about the running back.
That's a first-string running back.
That is a running back taking the corner, and there is no one there to deal with what Hines has. And I was talking about the speed component for this young man. You see, when he gets to the edge, he's gone. There's nobody. I mean, hey, even if it was flag football, they wouldn't have been able to rip a flag off of him. That's how fast he's moving.
And just to finish the point, the reason why I was saying it could actually be a detriment to the Texans is you don't want your first-string running backs playing this late in a blowout. However, this is one positive. Tylen Hines turns on the Jets. He turns the corner, 2 touchdowns in his return from injury.
Welcome back to Stephenville, where the Texans are now up 54-0, all because of the comeback kid, Tylen Hines, scoring his second touchdown of the night. He transferred from Hawaii this year and had a lot of promise to be the starting running back before Tarleton opted for a Week 0 game against Cortland, where Hines dislocated his elbow. But with this being his first game back, you can tell that his boys are rallying behind him. And being on the sideline during his second touchdown, it was electric. All the guys were dabbing him up, saying, "This is your moment, this is your moment." Hines also with 80 yards on the night. Kyle?
Thank you very much, Laura. And they kept their helmets on for the celebration, but can we talk about the moonwalk that Tylen Hines hit in the back of the end zone following the touchdown?
We're going to have to talk about it. We're going to have to give recognition to it, because I don't know how a man does a moonwalk in cleats.
That's impressive.
You know,
Take a look at it here. Watch this.
I mean, here it is. You get a little.
This is hard to do in dress shoes on a theater floor, and he had the leg kick beforehand.
Yeah, that's the hee-hee on that, right? And then you get to slide across the turf. All right. This is a guy. He left Hawaii, so he left the surf of Hawaii to come to the turf.
Surf to turf.
Surf to turf. I was stuck. Thank you, my brother, for getting me out of that. But, man, that's just electric watching this young man perform out here tonight, and that has been a missing piece. Obviously, Coach Witten, man, his plans for that young man, it came late, but he's going to be able to take full advantage of that talent.
Tapscott throws it into coverage again. A sixth takeaway by the Tarleton State defense. This one picked off by Markel Johnson, who gets in on the turnover party.
I mean, you're already down 54 points here, and you're demoralized is the only word that I can say for this Lions team, period. But this is one, I mean, he just didn't see it.
And we've said that multiple times here in this game, whether it's Wood earlier in the game or Tapscott late in the game, neither quarterback has had success. You had DC Tapscott earlier in the game and earlier in the second half had some success. He had a 43-yard completion to Tanaka Scott. But since then, it's been just nothing but Tarleton turnovers and takeaways on the defensive side. New quarterback in, as Pete is now in at quarterback for the Texans. They go to the ground, and that's James Page, the converted quarterback, playing running back. There's a penalty marker down.
Personal foul. Face mask 22 defense. Half the distance to the goal and an automatic first down.
It's the redshirt junior and a transfer from Tyler Junior College. Jaden Pete at quarterback. 6'1", 190 pounds. Originally out of Houston, Texas. So that should be the end of the day for Daniel Greek, who did not have an incompletion. 6 for 6, 84 yards and a touchdown. He also had a 5-yard rush and positive yardage on the ground as well. Hand off to Page, who pushes inside the 5.
They get Leo Glover with the face mask on the previous play, and everything tonight is for the guys in black. It just feels like defensively they're playing with 13 guys in those black uniforms, and obviously the quarterback not able to pick up on those defenses throwing into coverage. And, man, it looks like this team is well on their way to scoring another touchdown here in the fourth quarter. I think they've got the taste of that loss out of their system now.
You think so?
I think they're done with that.
Maybe the case. This is the first opportunity for playing time this year for Jaden Pete. Fourth quarterback to see some playing time as Page reaches for the pylon, and he stops short of the goal line. It is 4th down and goal from the 1-inch line, as they call them down. Excuse me, that's going to be 3rd down, so they still have one more opportunity to punch it in. Tackle made by Ingram. who's had a pretty good night tonight, despite some of the success on the offensive side of the ball. Pete and Page back behind the line. And it's Page who plunges his way in. Touchdown, Tarleton State. 60 points on the board in a current shutout early in the fourth quarter.
And James Page has probably been sitting over there jealous, man, waiting to get his opportunity, and he finally does, and he's able to get into the end zone. Incredible, incredible performance tonight from Tarleton State.
That's the 8th rushing touchdown of the year for James Page, sophomore out of Georgia. Was a high school all-state quarterback. Converted to running back here in Stephenville, and he looks the part as the PAT is good. It's now 61-0. Taking a look at the score. Tarleton State looking to kick this one away after another 4-play, 18-yard touchdown drive, capped off by a rushing touchdown by James Page, his 8th of the season. Alongside Heckma Harrison with Laura Sadler down on the sideline, I'm Kyle Yeomans. About as complete of a performance as Todd Whitten could have put on paper in this one. 61-0. 6 takeaways forced by the defense, and now 17 points off of those takeaways. Even before that, the big play was hitting for the Texans on offense. This one's into the end zone for a touchback.
And talking to Coach Dearman, I remember you talking about, the quarterback position and who gives them the best opportunity, and he was adamant about John Austin Wood. I just think that this defense, the way that they played tonight, they really just put him in a crock pot and roasted him for a while. And then when they came in with D.C. Tapscott, he couldn't do anything either with this Tarleton State defense. So that has been the challenge all season.
So now we're going to see our 3rd quarterback for North Alabama in this one. Remember, Destin Wade, the starter, is out. John Austin Wood was the starter tonight. D.C. Tapscott came in, and now it's Ty Watkins, the 6'3", 225-pound redshirt sophomore, transferred from Austin Peay, who is Tarleton's next opponent. Watkins wearing the number 3 in the white. There you see his season total. It's mostly as a runner as opposed to being a thrower. We'll see what he can do from behind center. Second down and 5. They go to the ground with Allen, who works ahead for about 3 yards.
Yeah, everybody getting an opportunity here today. That's how bad it's been. You weren't able to put any points on the board, and they got close. And I do believe was it about a 38-yarder earlier in the first half?
It was a 34-yard field goal that was missed by Ian Vachon, who traditionally has been really good this year, but just missed it to the right.
And the best opportunity that they've had to score today. Other than that, this has been a complete shutout.
And this one pulled by Watkins. He can't get away. Texans swarm behind the line. He's taken down for a tackle for loss, and North Alabama will punt it away again. Watkins 0 for 1 on the season passing, so he has not completed a pass so far this year. We talked about his rushing numbers as he heads back to the sideline after a quick 3 and out.
Yeah, Matt Freeman getting in on the act, getting a sack, and it doesn't matter who you change at quarterback. What remains to be the same is that they're going to continue to put pressure on these quarterbacks.
Freeman's second sack of the year. And fair catch was signaled by Caleb Lewis. He gets twirled around by a North Alabama coverage player. Avery was the one down there along with Lake. But they did not throw the penalty marker as he had already reeled in the fair catch.
What a tough performance tonight.
A little surprised they did not throw a penalty marker here. It's almost the definition of fair catch interference.
Yeah, that's usually
not exactly sure why they would, even after the fact, if you missed it initially, throw a penalty flag. It's pretty obvious there.
We're used to that being automatic. When you're down 61 points.
Maybe that's the case.
That's an automatic call.
That's a good point. Back to Pete at quarterback for Tarleton State. He has not attempted a pass to this point. And they go right back to the ground as James Page getting some extra run. Had 7 carries for 76 yards last week. Over a 10 yards per carry average. So even when they go to the third string at running back, they still have quite the talent in that running back room that's already stretched due to injuries.
Yeah, one thing that all 3 of these guys have is that their ability to fall forward.
For a lot of these reserves on the Tarleton State side, of course, they may not get a ton of playing time throughout the year, so this is their opportunity to put some tape out there. Pull here from Pete. Pete with some running room outside the numbers, gets past the 40-yard line, trying to stay in bounds, and he's finally pushed out. With Alabama forces Pete to go out of play, and it looks like there's another Lion down. Leo Glover was shaken up after the tackle.
And you see the Jets right there from Pete. He pulls it from James Page at the last minute, picks up the first down.
Largest margin of victory in Texans program history at the Division I level was 56 points over Mississippi Valley State back on September 6th. That was 59-3. They would break that record should the score hold here. It would be one of the largest shutouts they've recorded at the Division I level as well since making the jump about a half decade ago, or just over a half decade ago now.
Yeah, I think we're just surprised when you go through the season for the Lions. And they've been in some shootouts all season long.
Yeah.
Southeast Missouri, 21-30. You know, they've had games where they've scored 30 points against Utah Tech. They scored 33. This is just about 3 weeks ago. And tonight, nothing offensively.
Well, I think you bring up a great point. because North Alabama has not been held under 17 points this season at the FCS level. The season low was last week against West Georgia when they fell 24-17. Prior to that, their season low was 6 points back on their season opener when they fell to Western Kentucky, of course, an FBS school out of Conference USA. That was a 55-6 loss back in the season opener for North Alabama. But when you lose your quarterbacks and you're down to your third and fourth string guy as a signal caller, there's going to be some adjustments made, and going up against the defense is highly touted as the Tarleton State Texans are. It's certainly going to be a challenge, and it was a big one for the Lions tonight.
Yeah, you expect the challenge, Kyle, when you're missing, a guy like Destin Wade, but to really be able to produce nothing offensively, to have no push with your running game,
sure,
not able to make any completions at all. I mean, that first half, that is one for the books, and I'm sure, Coach Dearman's going to go back and just sit down and watch this tape, and it's just bad ball all around, and not to pile on, but it's just really surprising when you look at their schedule and you look at what they've been able to produce with points.
Third down and 3, about a yard gained by Page there. Fourth down and 2, Tarleton State. See if the offense just stays out on the field here. Chance to continue to run clock if they pick up the first down. They could punt it away, but at this point, with the score being what it is, it may be better just to get the first down and continue running the clock.
Yeah, no mercy rules in college.
No, not at the Division I level.
No mercy. You got to play this thing out. But this is going to be one for the record book for Tarleton if North Alabama doesn't score.
Fourth down and 2. They go to the ground with Page, and he is stopped short of the line. Turnover on downs. Goes back over to North Alabama. The clock stops at 4:15 remaining here in the fourth quarter. And that was a drive where they just continuously handed it off to James Page and just let him churn away some clock for a little bit. Took about 4 minutes and 28 seconds on the time of possession. Of course, North Alabama will have an opportunity next week to end their season on a high note. It's the final game from their current home as they go back home to Brawley Stadium, where they've played football there for quite some time, all the way back since 1949. They're opening a new stadium in the fall of next year, 2026, as there's a scramble attempt upended at the line of scrimmage after Watkins moves forward for about a yard. When we talked to Coach Dearman earlier in the week, he really was excited about the addition of a on-campus North Alabama-owned stadium, and when they open up that stadium next year, it's going to be just another element of their game, maneuvering from the Division II ranks up to the FCS level, where they try and compete with some of these programs like a Tarleton State.
Yeah, and when you're able to pack a stadium like Tarleton is and have that home field advantage, I think it does something for your program and your student body. I mean, this place is always rocking, and big games, you get a crowd here, and that's something that they're going to be able to produce in North Alabama.
Of course, that's a stadium that's had some history behind it, hosted the NCAA Division II National Championship game from 1986 through 2013, including all 3 of UNA's national championship wins at the D2 level from 93, 94, and 95, the first team to repeat 3 times at a national championship of any levels. This one's first down yardage on the carry to the right side. Roderick Taylor Jr. picks up the line to gain, takes a hit at the end, but Taylor Jr. with some positive yardage. It's crazy when you look at the win total from North Alabama this year. They actually ranked second in the state of Alabama as a whole in football success since 1990. Only one school, and it's the University of Alabama, the Crimson Tide, who have more wins as a program throughout their program's history, or at least going back to 1990. That's how much this team won at the Division II ranks. And of course, they haven't had the same success in the FCS so far, but it's tough to make a jump and make a transition the way that they're trying to do.
And I think that's why when people look at Tarleton and the job that they've done with the transition, man, that's something to give kudos
2 minutes.
for.
Timeout.
And they are a top 5 team for a reason. We've reached the 2-minute timeout here in the fourth quarter. Tarleton State well on their way to a program best victory, margin of victory of 61 at the moment. Tarleton State well on their way to their 10th win of the 2025 season. The home crowd has been treated to an all-around performance by the Texans in this one. 61-0 on the other side of the 2-minute timeout, as North Alabama has 2 minutes to try and get on the board and avoid their first shutout of the 2025 campaign. They go back to the ground with Roderick Taylor Jr., who has stopped after a gain of maybe 1.
It doesn't matter. Here you're down to about your third, fourth string guys get an opportunity. We've already seen James Page come into the game, and defensively, again, same results. Guys not getting anywhere in the running game.
If the score holds as a shutout for the Texans defense, it would be the second biggest shutout in program history for Tarleton State. 62-0 back in 2002 was the last time they had a 60-plus point shutout. As this throw left side is complete. Dragging a foot inbounds to keep it is Omarion Finch, the redshirt sophomore out of Gadsden, Alabama. Nice grab by Finch there and keeps the foot in bounds.
Hey, good throw by Ty Watkins as well.
Watkins' first completed pass of his tenure with North Alabama. Was 0 for 1 previously, even though he's played in 10 games this year. That was his second passing attempt. He picks up the first down. Now he'll run it left, looking to option, breaks back inside at the numbers. You can tell the big body quarterback here has some confidence running the ball as he maneuvers forward for about 4.
On the sophomore, the Texans, number 38,
North Alabama up over 150 yards of total offense compared to the Texans, who have 500 total yards at the moment.
Wow.
Second down and 6. Nowhere to go that time for Taylor Jr. as he gets upended. And we'll see if North Alabama wants to run one final play here. They can let the clock run out if they want to. Texans off of their first loss of the season 2 weeks ago to Abilene Christian. They fell 31-28 on the road. Had a bye week to regroup, and boy did they. Final play of the ball game, and it's going to go for a tackle for loss. No surprise, the Texans are going to pitch a shutout in Stephenville, 61-0 as the clock hits 0. Their 10th win of the 2025 campaign, and it's in emphatic fashion here for Tarleton State.
Yeah, complete domination, Kyle. Victor Gabales came out on his first and second drives with scores. He just didn't miss. The running game was consistent. It really got going in the third quarter. You started to see it take effect as well. But, man, I love the way that they came out, and you needed a dominated performance like this. And, look, that's the way you put the train back on the tracks if you're Tarleton State.
A team that was ranked second in the FCS when they fell to Abilene Christian 2 weeks ago. Maybe some have written off what the Texans can bring to the table from an FCS playoff picture. They'll be in. That's not the conversation. Conversation is how far will they go, and they prove they are right there in terms of national championship contenders. Let's go down on the sideline with Laura Sadler.
We're here with Tylen Hines, and wow, it's your first game back this season. You came back with a bang. You had 80 yards, 2 touchdowns. How good does it feel to be back with your team, and what led to your success?
Man, it's a blessing, just to be back on the field with the guys. All glory to God first, and really we be putting in the work every day. So that's what happened. When we stick together and never give up and just keep going.
And we bragged about your defense at the half. Let's brag about the offense. There's a reason why you are second in the nation in scoring offense. You lead the conference. You put up 61 points tonight. What is the magic behind the chemistry that goes along with the offense that you have?
Well, we all just want to, execute our 111. Always going back to the drawing board, fixing mistakes. It's always we always just try to, not focus on the the bad things. We try to have a one snap clear and keep things going. So we had a good thing. We got a good job, and we do a good job of. My bad. I'm sorry. We do
a lot of excitement.
Nah, facts. Yeah, we just do a good job of bouncing back after plays, having one snap clear mentalities, and just focusing on the next play.
And you have a big game ahead. Abilene Christian, I'm sure they won their game. Obviously, you guys got the dominant win, and next week it's going to come down to who's going to win the championship. So with that, it's a big week ahead. How do you prepare your team for what's to come and make sure that they're not too nervous going into this last game?
Really, like I said, we treat every week like a clean slate. So we're gonna go into this with a 1-0 mentality, and we ain't gonna doubt anyone, but we're still gonna get back to the drawing board. For sure, fix some of the mistakes that we had tonight and just try to improve and just be our best.
Well, it's a lot of fun watching you. Congrats on being back. We look forward to what's to come.
I appreciate you.
All right.
Thanks, Laura. Mr. Hines down there saying that they need to fix the list of mistakes. It's not a very long list for the Tarleton State Texans after this one.
No, it's a sticky note, man, and they did a fantastic job here tonight, completely dominating. Nothing to be nervous about going into the next game. I think they are ready and willing to take over and win a championship.
No doubt about it. Austin Peay comes to Stephenville next week. North Alabama goes back home. Their final game at Brawley Stadium. They'll take on Southern Utah. That does it for us here from Stephenville, Texas. For Heckma Harrison, Laura Sadler, and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long from Memorial Stadium. The Texans with their largest shutout victory in 23 years. They win it 61-0.